make a thumb drive of the defense exhibits? Because I only have them. Well, my office can make the thumb drive. I don't know how to do it.
I've never had a thumb drive of exhibits. You'd have to agree that they're the correct compilation, like whatever should be in or out, because
Right.
like I can't police
They're
that.
what's reflected on the exhibit list, minus those that have been withdrawn or the court's ruled upon.
So you'll be prepared to give them that.
Yes.
I just need to be able to. I will need to be able to review that before.
Yeah, sure.
That's
No,
fine.
yeah, okay.
And then, is it okay that I just have hard copies, or would you like me to make a thumb drive?
Either way, I've never really. I don't think we've sent a thumb drive in there before, but we can.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So, but either way that you want to do it.
Thank you.
I started thinking about that there on the screen, and I don't want to bring them out here every time they want to look at an exhibit. Do you plan the prosecutor to respond to the defendant's filing with the attachments?
Yes, just we're following with that.
Okay, all right. I wasn't sure if you were doing that or not, so I just wanted to know.
Has the court decided if it's going to have the other lawyers that are attempting to?
I'm probably not. I can't think of a reason to have him here at the moment, but after I read the response, I might feel differently.
I'm only asking because they keep emailing, and I just keep ignoring. So.
Yeah, I at the moment I can't think of another reason. I can't think of a reason to have them here. Who represents the shooter right now? Does Ms. Lofton no longer represent them?
Jacqueline Overy does.
Okay, so Ms. Lofton does not represent him at all anymore. Do you think that's right?
I don't believe she technically represents him, but I do know she's still in touch with him. So I don't know.
Oh, okay.
She's still in contact with him frequently.
Okay. All right. So who's the next witness?
Amanda Holland.
Okay. We're gonna bring the jury in, all right?
Do you know who's at
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Thank you.
All rise for the jury.
All right, you may be seated. All right, who is the next witness?
Miss Amanda Holland.
Would you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God? All right, you may be seated, and then would you state your name for the record and spell your first name? Gotta speak up.
Amanda Holland, AMANDAHOLLAND.
All right, go ahead, prosecutor.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Ms. Holland, do you know Jennifer Crumbley? And how do you know her?
We used to work together.
Okay. Is that the same company that Andrew Smith works at?
Yes,
Is Ms. Crumbley in court today?
she is.
Can you point her and describe something she's wearing today?
She has a tan blazer on and glasses.
Will the record reflect identification of the defendant?
The record will reflect in court identification of the defendant, Jennifer Crumbley.
Thank you, Judge. If you can recall, what are the approximate dates that you used to work with the defendant?
Roughly 2017 to 2021.
Okay. Up until November of 2021?
Yes.
And what was your role with this company?
I worked under the operations director. so I was his direct assistant.
And who's his?
Andrew Smith,
Mr. Smith?
yes,
Make sure you keep your voice nice and loud for us, okay?
sorry.
That's right. And what specifically did you do there?
I was the operations assistant, so I helped him with all of his daily calendaring and projects. I assisted other departments, administrative work.
Okay. And what about the defendant? What did she do, if you know?
She was the marketing director at the time.
Did the two of your work overlap?
Occasionally, we had meetings together sometimes. I prepared spreadsheets and things that she would receive as well. I'd help with some projects of hers as well.
Okay. Did the both of you work for Andrew Smith?
Yeah,
Okay. So both of you reported to him?
yes.
Okay. Now, tell us about the physical proximity between your respective workstations, you and the defendant.
She worked directly across the hall from me, so if I was sitting here, she was probably where you are, her office.
So I'm about 7 or 8 feet away, would that be right?
Roughly, yes.
Okay. And were you in an office or in a cubicle or different?
A cubicle,
Okay.
and her office was directly across the hall.
And the defendant was in the office?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what about Mr. Smith's office? Where was his at?
The office direct, diagonal from mine, so I was on a corner and he was in the back corner.
Okay. So the three of you, generally speaking, were in the same proximity to each other?
Yes.
Okay. Now, specific to November of 2021, what hours would you generally work?
9 to 5.
Okay. And what about the defendant, if you know?
She got in earlier than me and she left around 4. I'm not sure what time she came in.
Again, nice and loud, please. Pretend I'm at the very back and you're shouting at me. It's okay.
Okay.
How would you describe your relationship with the defendant?
We were friendly coworkers. We talked on a daily basis, worked together.
Did you ever socialize with her outside of work?
No.
When you say you spoke with each other on a daily basis, tell us about that interaction, please.
You know, in the morning, if you work in an office, you say good morning to people, you talk to them, you keep cordial relationships with everyone to keep the professional relationship normal.
Okay, so fair to say that you get in the morning and say hello when you got there?
We'd say good morning, ask about our days or nights, you know, just kind of check in with each other.
Okay. Did you know that she was married?
Yes,
Okay. Had you ever met her husband?
No.
Did you know that she had a son?
yes.
Had you ever met him?
No.
Did she ever talk about her son?
Not often, but occasionally.
Okay. And those occasional times that she spoke about her son was in a positive or negative context?
It wasn't either, really. It was kind of just, you know, that he had bowling or he had, they were camping or, so it wasn't necessarily negative.
Okay. Now, in these conversations, would she keep you abreast of certain things that were happening in her life?
Yes.
Did she also keep you abreast of certain things happening in her son's life?
Not as much, but yes.
Okay. Did she tell you about any of his friends?
One friend.
Okay. And tell me about that conversation.
When I heard about the friend, it was just that he was leaving and she was concerned about her son being lonely with his only friend going away. That's really all I knew.
Do you recall, can you give us a time frame when this happened?
My time frame is kind of rough. I'm not sure exactly when I'm not sure when that happened.
Okay. It was before the shooting?
Yes.
Okay. Was it a year before the shooting, a week before the shooting, a month before the shooting?
It was that year, maybe in the few months leading up to it,
Okay.
roughly, but I'm not positive on the timeline.
Did she ever tell you anything of a concerning nature about her son?
Just that he was lonely with his friend gone. So that's, you know, always with teens, you know, you always worry that they're gonna be sad or lonely with that. They had a couple fights, but other than that, nothing crazy. There was one time where he had fainted at work. She mentioned that before too. But nothing that really stood out to me before the event.
Now, Ms. Holland, before we get into some of the specifics, just so we all understand, tell us sort of some of your job responsibilities as an assistant in operations?
I helped with a lot of claims. Andy was a lawyer, so he did a lot of the subrogation claims that came in through the apartments. So I worked on a lot of the claims. I worked with preparing spreadsheets and documents for other departments and for CFO and for marketing. I would prep his calendar. I worked in other departments and did projects for them as well. So I would kind of do audits of vendors, lots of things. Operations was kind of a catch-all.
Okay.
So I kind of had my hand in a lot of different departments.
And how long did you work for Mr. Smith?
I was with the company for 5 years. I was with Andy probably for 4 of those 5 years. We were in the legal department for 1 year, and then I was his assistant for two or three.
Okay. And how long did you work with the defendant?
We were close to probably for those 2 years, roughly, when I worked with Andy and we were in the same corner together.
Okay.
So there's a lot of shifting in the company.
They said you were friendly at work, but you didn't socialize outside of work?
Correct.
Okay. Did you follow her on social media?
We were friends on social media, yeah.
Did you keep that public or private?
It was public, like you could see we were friends. A lot of my coworkers, just in any company, I friend everyone that asks, but I don't necessarily follow their feed. It's just something I like to do, so I don't like to see all of my coworkers' lives
Sure.
all the time. So we were friends on Facebook, but I didn't see her day-to-day posts.
Okay. And that's the setting that you selected?
Yes,
Okay.
for almost everyone I work with.
Okay. So I want to direct your attention now to November the 30th, 2021. Do you remember that day?
I do.
Were you working that day?
Yes,
Do you recall if Jennifer was also working?
she was.
Okay. Now, do you recall if you had an initial conversation with her in the morning when she got to work?
Yes, we kind of just had the good morning, check in with each other. So we did talk briefly in the morning.
Now, you mentioned that she had talked to you about fights before. Did she tell you about a fight the night before?
It was brief. She just mentioned that they had a fight. I'm not sure who initiated it. I didn't ask questions. It was kind of just, I asked her how her night went, how is she?
Mm-hmm.
She said she had a rough night, that they had a fight.
Did she say who's they?
No, it sounded like it was all of them, but she said that Ethan was out of the house and she locked him.
She locked him out of the house?
Yes.
Did you have a response to that?
No, I kind of I didn't really ask questions. I didn't push it or anything. I just kind of let it go.
Okay.
It was the morning.
Did you give her any indication? Well, let me ask you this. What did you think about that?
I kind of just gave a look and,
What do you think you gave her?
kind of just like surprised,
Okay.
but I didn't really go into detail about
Did
it.
she react to your surprised look?
I don't really remember.
Okay. Did she say anything else about it?
I don't remember. I don't think so, but I don't remember.
Okay. Now, in the past, the 2 years that you had worked with Jennifer, you said that she would occasionally talk about her son. Is that, you have to say yes or no?
Oh, sorry, I was just listening.
That's all right. No, that's fine.
Yes.
And you were aware that the defendant was afraid that he would be lonely. Is that right?
Mhm.
Is that yes?
Yes.
Okay. Did she ever tell you about things going around in the home that caused her concern, or at least enough concern to talk to you about?
Around the home, the only thing that was concerning, I don't remember when this happened. She just mentioned that he was hearing things in the house, but she didn't go into detail about it, or I didn't ask questions. But
Now, as far as time frame, are you able to give the jury an idea of a month, a week, a year prior to the shooting, or you're not
it
sure?
was within the year. I want to say within, again, maybe 6 months, 7 months. I don't remember, but it was definitely the year of the shooting.
Okay. Now, in regards to the conversation you had with her on November the 30th about the fight that the defendant had the night before, did the defendant tell you that she had locked him out of the house before?
I thought maybe I don't remember the exact conversation. I tried to think back at it and I don't remember exactly.
Okay. So what stands out to you the most about that conversation?
Just that was the end of a fight, how it was handled.
And how the defendant handled it?
Yeah, but I'm not sure who did it, but they just said that he was locked out. I don't know who did it.
Okay. Now, we know from other evidence that's been admitted already that Jennifer arrived to your place of employment at 9:04 a.m. on November the 30th, 2021. Does that sound right to you?
Yes,
Okay. Do you remember if you arrived before or after?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Usually I arrived after her though, so I would assume that, but
Okay, and if you don't remember, that's fine.
yeah.
After you had that conversation with the defendant, are you aware if she received a phone call?
I believe so. And she received a phone call in the morning. Yes,
That morning of November the 30th?
yes.
Okay. Were you made aware of who called her?
I believe first call, I believe it was from the school, yes.
From, do you know which school?
Oxford,
Oxford High School?
yes.
Okay. Were you there when she received the phone call?
I was, yes.
Okay. Now, when I say there, in her office or were you in your own workspace?
I was in my own workspace,
When she received the phone call, was her door to her office open?
yes.
So if her office was about the distance between me and you, where would she be seated at inside the office?
She's probably a little bit further back, so the first row of seats was probably where she was sitting.
So maybe 15, 20 feet?
Yeah, because she sat a little bit further back in her office, and I was a little pushed back from my wall too, so there was a little bit of distance, but.
Okay. And how were you able to tell who called her?
I just heard the phone call. I didn't know who called her at first, but she mentioned she had a call from the school afterwards.
Okay, so she told you about the phone call afterwards.
Yes.
And do you tell me about that conversation?
She received a call, and there was another call afterwards, so there was a little bit of time in between the call. But she talked to me as she was about to leave because of the call. So she came over and showed me something on her phone and said she had to go.
Do you remember what she showed you?
She showed me the drawing that her son had drawn at school. It was on her phone and she just held it up and she said, "This is what I got from school today."
Okay, and what was your response to that?
I looked at it and I thought it was scary. I thought it was intimidating to see the pictures that were on there.
And what was Jennifer's response?
She didn't seem overly worried, but she didn't seem like she was blowing it off. You know, I think she was getting ready to go to the school. She was coming over to let me know she was leaving. I don't think Andy was there yet. So it was more of like a, you know, if you see him, let him know.
Okay. And if I were to tell you that there's surveillance footage that shows her leaving at 10:12 a.m., does that sound about right?
Yes.
Okay. So just so we have an idea of the chronology of November the 30th. And I know you want to be accurate, so I want to make sure that this is all accurate. Jennifer arrived at 9:04 a.m. Well, you don't dispute that?
No.
Okay. You arrived close in time, the same time?
Probably close in time. I was
Okay.
usually, you know, sometimes things happen and I'm a little later, but I was usually there at or around 9.
Okay. And then you had your typical initial check-in conversation?
Mhm.
Is that a yes? Okay. And in that conversation is when she shared with you about the fight the night before?
Yes.
And then sometime later, you were aware that she received that phone call and then she left that night?
Yes.
Okay. From the time that she left at 10:12 a.m. and went to the school, before she came back, did you have any conversation with her?
I'm sorry, can you repeat it?
Did you see her again that day?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Did you see her again back at your employment?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have any phone calls or texts with her from the time that she was gone to the time she came back?
No.
Okay. So if evidence showed that she arrived back at work at 11:24, does that sound right to you?
Yes.
Okay. Did you speak with her when she came back to work?
Yes.
Tell me about that, please.
She came in and it was kind of just, she has kind of a sarcastic personality, you know, so when she came in, she kind of visibly slumped and was, you know, said, I feel like a failure as a parent. And she said that there was a meeting at the school and that there were the drawings and they were worried about him and that he needed to get into counseling within 48 hours.
Okay. What was your response?
I just said that was, you know, I said I was sorry. I think I said something along the lines of that, you know, just showing concern and compassion for what was going on. She went into a little more detail about the drawing and talked to me about it. And
Did she show you the drawing while she gave you detail about it?
I know I saw it before the meeting, but I don't remember if she showed it to me again, to be honest. So I don't remember if I saw it after too. We talked about it and I just remember telling her that, you know, it was scary and, you know, maybe she should spend some time with him to make a good one.
Did she ask your advice?
She didn't ask for it, no.
Okay, but what was the advice that you gave?
I just said that I think I would have brought my son home if it had happened to me. Something along the lines of that. I just said I would have brought my son home.
So if she arrived back at 11:24 a.m. and we know that she left at 1:18 p.m., do you recall about what time you had that conversation with her?
No, I was right after she got back. I think when she was coming in, she stopped at my desk and
Oh, before she went to her office?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't remember though, but it was very quick when she did.
Okay. After you had the conversation with her about the drawing and you giving your advice on it, did you speak with her again?
Not until she left for the day.
Okay, and tell me about that, please.
That was when she got the call. I'm not sure who called her, but somehow she got the notification that there was the shooting at the school. And she very abruptly, very, you know, like anyone, jumped up and was nervous, scared, you know, ran out the door.
Did you understand what was happening?
I mean, at first no, but then she went over and told Andy, and I sit, my desk is kind of two back walls that are full and then kind of like this, two half walls, so I can hear anything that's going on. So she told Andy, and that's how I learned what happened.
Okay. And if I told you it was 1:18 p.m., would that sound right to you?
Yes.
Did you have any conversation with her after that point?
No, I reached out to her just because I didn't know any part of the situation. I didn't know if it was her son. I didn't know if it was someone else. I didn't know. So I reached out to her and just told her I was thinking of her and I hope everything's okay. But we didn't talk. She didn't respond.
She did not respond?
No.
Maybe one more here. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Holland, you have previously testified in a hearing in court about this case, correct?
Yes.
And that hearing took place back in April of 2022. Do you recall that?
Was it April? I thought
Would
it
it
was,
be spring?
yeah, I thought it was maybe February.
Oh, it might have been.
I don't believe it was April though.
I'm sorry, you're correct. February 24th, 2022?
Yes,
And that would be a lot closer in time than obviously now.
correct.
And in addition to that, when law enforcement was investigating, you cooperated with law enforcement and did interview them. Is that correct?
Yes.
And in fact, on December 10th, 2021, you wrote a statement about anything you knew regarding the Crumbleys, correct?
Yes.
And the law enforcement wanted to know information about Mr. or Mrs. Crumbley and their son. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
And on that date, you provided, I don't know, it looks like you typed the statement out on December 10th, is that correct?
Yes.
Did you send it to law enforcement that same day?
I sent it to the company attorney. I don't know what they did with it after.
Okay, and if you need to see your statement, let me know. I will have a couple of questions about it. So I just want to make sure I understand you're involved in this case a little bit in the investigation. You were involved,
Yes.
you wrote the statement,
Yes.
and you testified once before.
Yes.
Now, when you testified before, you were directly asked if you were friends with Jennifer Crumbley. Your answer was, no, we are not friends, correct?
Yes.
Jennifer Crumbley is not someone that you consider to be a friend to you.
Correct.
And you guys were polite enough at work, talking back and forth,
Yes.
and you were polite enough to be friends on Facebook, but didn't really monitor or pay attention to her page. Now, you are aware, obviously, that Mrs. Crumbley had a son named Ethan.
Yes.
And on November 30th, there were a couple of times that day, we can agree that Mrs. Crumbley was concerned about her son.
Yes.
When she came into work on November 30th, she told you there had been an argument the night before.
Yes,
And it's your testimony, you can't remember any details about the argument, but you remember something about Mrs. Crumbley saying she locked him out.
there was an argument. I didn't ask questions or go into detail. I didn't think it was something I wanted to really engage in. She mentioned there was a fight and she mentioned that he was locked out.
You don't know anything about him being locked out, any details beyond him, that there was a claim he was locked out.
Correct.
So you don't know if he was locked out because he made an accident and left keys in the house, or if Jennifer Crumbley intentionally locked him out. You don't know the context around any of that, correct? I'm sorry?
I don't know.
Now, when she was talking to you about going over to this, or I'm sorry, when she was talking to you about Ethan Crumbley, she expressed that she was concerned specifically about him being lonely, correct?
Yes.
And she also said that she also appeared to be concerned about the drawing when she saw that.
Yes.
And she showed you a picture of the drawing.
Yes.
And ultimately, when she left to go to the school, she appeared to be very nervous and scared. You testified to that.
When she went to the meeting,
When she went to the school the second time, when
responding to the shooting?
Yes.
Yes, she was then.
she was very nervous and scared, and that's when you testified she ran quickly out the door, correct?
Yes.
When she went to the school the first time, there was not any hesitation expressed to you about going over to the school to meet with the counselor, correct?
I felt like there was maybe a little hesitation. I think she called her husband first. So it wasn't an immediate leave to go there.
At that time, there wasn't anything like a shooting going on or something crazy urgent, in the same way there was in the afternoon, correct? So she left the office though, and she did physically go meet with the school, and then she returned back to the office.
Yes.
You and Mrs. Crumbley discussed the time, the appointment she had over with the school and the school counselor.
Yes.
It was your understanding that she planned to get counseling for her son.
I don't know. She said it was a requirement from the school. I don't know what her plans were.
Okay, so she said that the school wanted her to get counseling,
Yes.
and she didn't tell you, I'm not getting him counseling, or I think that's a garbage request, correct?
Correct.
And you gave her some advice, being, I think it would be nice if it's fair to say that you know Jennifer from work, as you've described, but you don't know Ethan Crumbley at all.
Correct.
It's also fair to say that you don't have teenagers of your own that you parent on a daily basis.
Correct.
So any advice you gave to Mrs. Crumbley about you should spend time with him, go see a movie, you don't have personal experience about a mother-son experience with a teenager, correct?
I'm a parent, but no, not of a teenager. I still feel like I have instincts as a parent to understand how I would handle that situation.
Okay, so you have judgments about how you feel Mrs. Crumbley handled that situation, fair to say?
I wasn't judging her. I was giving her what I would do.
Okay, well, right now, saying what you have your own personal opinions, that those
Actually,
are
the
the,
argument, Judge.
Yes.
okay.
Thank you.
So you've never met Ethan Crumbley, and you don't have much awareness of how much time Mrs. Crumbley would spend with him. Is that a fair statement?
Correct.
Now, although you guys were Facebook friends, you testified you obviously did not follow her on Facebook and see every single post, correct?
Correct.
Okay, but you are aware on Facebook she would post about a variety of topics.
Yeah, I saw a few things. Yes.
So some of the things you saw were about her horses.
Yes.
There's definitely pictures she posted, including her son.
I don't think I saw her son.
Pictures of holidays.
I don't think I saw holidays.
Pictures of, and do you recall seeing, you don't recall seeing any pictures of her son?
I don't recall.
Do you recall seeing photographs of the family home?
When she was working on it, but she would show me pictures too, so I don't know if I saw that on Facebook or if she showed it to me.
So one of the interests Mrs. Crumbley would talk to you about is home improvement, doing things, house projects.
Yes,
Were you aware that Mrs. Crumbley went camping with her son and on vacations?
yes.
Did you ever see the photographs of those things and boating and things along those lines on Facebook?
I don't recall. I don't think so, but they, like I said, they might have been posted, but I didn't follow a lot of my coworkers, so I didn't see a lot of their posts unless I was actually friends with them and hung out with them and interacted with them outside of work. I didn't really see their posts. I didn't follow them. So she may have posted it, but I didn't see it.
It's fair to say you have no personal awareness of any of those things, whether they were on Facebook or happening in her life, correct?
Correct. A lot of the times, unless she showed it to me, I wouldn't see it online.
So it's fair to say that there were certainly topics going on in her life, if those topics are true, like posting pictures on holidays and things like that, activities with her son that you're just not aware of.
Correct.
Now, you testified that you were alarmed by seeing the math paperwork when you first saw the worksheet, correct?
Yes.
The drawings on the page did not concern you so much that you expected there would be a school shooting later that day, correct?
Without context, yes, correct.
You didn't expect that some major tragedy would unfold based on what you saw in that photograph.
Correct.
And you were aware that Mrs. Crumbley had returned to work and her son had stayed in school.
Correct.
You agree with me that Jennifer Crumbley, and I believe you testified to this on direct, can have a sarcastic personality.
Correct.
So there's oftentimes things where Jennifer will say something, but you can tell because you know her that she's being sarcastic.
Yes.
Now, when she said she's a failure as a parent, you said that seemed sarcastic to you.
Yes.
It's also fair to say that while that may have been partially sarcastic, Jennifer Crumbley was certainly expressing concern to you that day about her son.
Maybe. I don't know if it was concern. She was showing me the photo. She told me a lot of stories. But she showed me in a normal manner. She didn't seem overly upset or concerned about it. But
Okay. When you've testified previously, obviously it was closer in time to November 30th of 2021. Yes?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know it was the question.
Is
Yes.
that, okay?
Yes, I did.
And when you testified that day about what Jennifer Crumbley said, you were asked, what did she say? And I'm on page 136 of the transcript. You said they were concerned with his drawing and they were concerned that he may be feeling badly, and it goes on from there, correct?
Correct.
And so based on her saying that she was concerned, you're saying now that you don't know if she truly was concerned? Is that your point?
I think at the time I was assuming she was concerned, but like I was trying to portray now, I don't know how she felt. I didn't ask her how she felt. She didn't tell me how she felt. She came over and showed it to me and we talked about it, but she didn't say anything specific.
Do you recall being asked by Miss McDonald, I'm on page 137 of the transcript, what was her, meaning Jennifer Crumbley's, demeanor when she was talking to you about this? And you testified, my initial thought was it was a little sarcastic, the way she said she felt like a failure. As she was talking, it was a little concerned,
Okay.
Meaning Mrs. Crumbley was a little concerned.
Okay. Yes.
It's fair to say over time, you're looking back at what happened on November 30th with more information than you had as that day unfolded, correct? what happened on November 30th, when kids were killed, people were injured, that was something you never expected in your own head, correct?
Correct.
When there was news that there was an open shooter at the school, it's fair to say that Jennifer Crumbley appeared to be very surprised and shocked that that was unfolding.
Yes.
And we can agree that looking back at the events of November 30th, you have different information today than you had now, correct?
Correct.
And over these 2 years that have elapsed, you have had zero contact with Mrs. Crumbley.
Correct.
And you have had contact, however, with the prosecutor's office.
Correct.
You had contact with the prosecutor's office about your testimony today
Correct.
and about your testimony back at the preliminary exam, some of the testimony I referred to.
Correct.
Your Honor, may I please have one moment?
Sure.
I have nothing further.
Redirect.
Yes, thank you. Ms. Holland. When we met with you, what did we tell you to do?
To tell the truth.
Is that what you're doing today?
Yes.
Now, I want to refer you back to the same page that counsel just asked you about. That's page 136, specifically line 19 of the preliminary examination. You were asked, okay, this is starting at line 9. How would you describe the writings on the worksheet? Your answer was disturbing. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. And the question, okay, what was your response? Answer, I told her I thought it was scary. Question, I'm sorry, you said what? Your answer, I told her I thought it was scary. Question, okay. Answer, that he would draw that. Question, line 18. And what was her response? Line 19, she agreed. So that's, you recall that conversation with Jennifer Crumbley?
I do, yes.
Okay. Now, going back to the comment that Jennifer Crumbley made to you on the morning of November the 30th, 2021, did she tell you that her son locked himself out or she locked him out?
Your Honor, I would object because I believe the witness has said she doesn't know. Or she answered me that she didn't know.
Well, do you know do you know?
I don't know. I know that there was a comment made that he was locked out. I don't know how that happened.
Okay, let me ask
She
you, the
didn't
comment
say
was
it.
he was locked out.
Yes.
Okay, she didn't go into any specifics?
Your Honor, I would object to further questions on this, that the witness has already answered the question.
Well, I guess I would have to say that once we asked the question, you asked the question, I was confused.
I just want to clarify.
Yeah, but you don't know.
I know that there was the comment that he was locked out, but I don't know how that happened.
Her exact words, the best you can recall.
To the best that I can recall was that he was locked out.
Okay, those are the words of Jennifer Crumbley.
Yes.
Thank you, nothing further.
Right, you can step down. Who's the next witness?
Yeah, Detective Stoyek, she should be here in the hall. I'll just need a few minutes to set this up.
Yeah.
This one? Yeah, she can't see it, so it's on. Yeah. Good afternoon. Would you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is a true self you got?
I do.
All right, could you step in, have a seat, and then would you state your name for the record and spell your first and last name?
Adam Stoyek, ADAMSTOYEK.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Sir, how are you employed?
I'm a detective with the Oakland County Sheriff's Office,
And how long have you been with the sheriff's office?
just under 12 years,
How long have you been a detective?
just under 4 years.
Where exactly is your, no, that's a bad question. You're a detective, but what substation?
I'm assigned to the city of Pontiac.
Okay, so you work out of the Pontiac substation?
Correct.
Okay. And what sort of things do you do there?
Investigate crime reports that come in on a daily basis. We have periods of being on call, investigating homicides, assaults, things like that.
Okay. Now, prior to being a detective, what did you do?
I spent some time in the corrections division. I was in the courthouse, went to road patrol where I worked in Pontiac, different shifts in Pontiac. I was a school resource officer in Pontiac for a short period, and then I got moved up to the detective bureau about 4 years ago.
All right. Now, I'd like to direct your attention to November the 30th, 2021. Do you recall that day?
I do.
Were you working?
I was.
Were you made aware of the shooting at the Oxford High School that day?
I was.
And tell us, please, where were you when you were made aware of that shooting?
I was at the Pontiac substation at my desk.
Okay. And how was it that you came to learn about the shooting?
I had the my computer screen up, which had all the pending and active sheriff's office calls in the county, and I actually saw the call at the school go up on the pending calls on the screen. I read it.
Okay. What do you mean by that? You saw it up on the pending call on the screen?
So yeah, it has like the active calls going on within the sheriff's department, and then on the bottom it will have like calls that haven't been dispatched yet. And I saw the one at the high school go out, and I read what about the multiple calls that was going on at the high school. We alerted the rest of the detectives of what was going on at the high school, and we all responded.
Okay. When you say we all responded, tell me what happened, please.
Initially, we got there, it was still pretty active. So my partner and I kind of linked up with a couple different guys, and we were searching classrooms. Some of the classrooms were still occupied by students, assisted with escorting them out of the school. Eventually, they called everybody to the front of the school, and we were tasked with searching certain classrooms.
Okay.
And we did that.
Now, what specific area of the school did you go to declare?
Initially, we went towards where the gymnasium was, towards the cafeteria and the gymnasium, which I believe was on the southwest corner of the school.
Okay. You said some of the classrooms were still occupied?
Correct.
Occupied by whom?
Students and teachers.
Okay. So tell us how that process worked to clear these rooms.
Yeah, so in a couple of the classrooms, the teachers were kind of initially hesitant to open the door. Kind of had to go back and forth with them explaining that we were the police, and eventually they did open the door. There wasn't really a whole lot of words exchanged. Everybody just kind of looked at you and didn't really just kind of listen to what you told them to do. We were escorted out of the school, and we would clear the classroom to make sure there was nobody else in the classroom.
Okay. You said at some point while you were on scene, you were redirected to the office area of the school?
Yeah, they had like a command post kind of started in the front of the school.
Okay.
Directed there.
And tell me what happened next.
Command officers were having us link up in teams, and they would give us specific classrooms to go search just to make sure that the classrooms were unoccupied. There was no one else inside.
Okay. And you did that assignment?
Correct.
At some point, were you tasked with going to 112 East Street in Oxford?
Yeah, at some point after we cleared the classrooms, Lieutenant Hicks gathered a few of the Pontiac detectives, and we were told to go to 112 East Street and secure the residence prior to a search warrant being drafted.
So why were you directed to that specific residence?
That was the residence of Jennifer and James Crumbley.
Okay. And so I take it at that point in time, the school shooter was in custody?
Correct.
And officers had learned his identity, where he resided, who his parents were?
Correct.
Okay. So did you go there?
I did.
At that point in time, did you know what you were going to find there?
No.
Okay, so did you have any information if there were going to be other casualties or anything else going on?
No, so at that time, we didn't know if the house was going to be occupied or, yeah, we didn't really have a clue what we were going into.
Okay. Who did you go there with?
My partner, Detective McPherson,
Any other officers?
Detective Peschke at the time, Detective Steele, Deputy Zajac was there, Deputy Mozak. I think eventually Agent Brandon came too.
Okay. From the ATF?
Correct.
Okay. So you're a detective on that day. Are you wearing plain clothes or uniform?
Plain clothes.
So were some of the officers uniform?
Correct.
Okay. So tell us what you see when you arrive, please.
When I got there, the James and Jennifer were being escorted out of the house by deputies.
Okay. And tell me what What's at this location? Is it a single family residence? Is it a multi-unit dwelling?
Yeah, it's a single family residence.
Okay. So you told us that you went there to secure the scene pending search warrant. What does that mean?
Yeah, so you'll go there just to do an initial sweep of the residence, make sure no one's inside. You don't want anybody coming inside, obviously. It's more of a preservation of evidence thing to make sure that nothing gets taken from the house prior to search warrant being completed.
Okay, is that something that occurs in every case with a search warrant?
Yeah, generally, right.
Okay. A search warrant, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's authorization from a judge or magistrate to enter a person's dwelling and to see certain items.
Correct.
Okay. And was your understanding that the search warrant was being obtained for that location?
Yes.
So when you enter a dwelling to secure it, do you actually search at that point?
Prior to the search warrant?
Correct.
Yeah, you're just kind of doing an initial sweep to make sure, no one's hiding inside. There's no one inside that's not supposed to be. You're just holding the house until you get a search warrant.
Okay, so your focus is looking for other individuals, but not for items.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking for individuals, but I mean, obviously, if there's things in plain sight, you're still observing things.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to show you what's been admitted and judged, so the court is clear as well as the defense counsel. Every exhibit we have on here, we've already gone through, and
Okay.
the court has already ruled to be admissible.
That's what we did last night when you guys left.
So this is exhibit 161. Can you see that on your screen?
I can.
Okay, so what is this that I'm sorry,
It's
162, thank you. What am I showing you right here?
It looks like that'd be a sketch or a drawing of 112 East Street.
Okay, so this is a sketch of the home if you were looking down on it, that's right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So would you call this a small home or a large home?
It's a fairly small home.
Okay. I'm gonna move on here to 164. First of all, tell us how many bedrooms were in this home?
There was 3 bedrooms and a bathroom and then a basement as well.
All right, so going back to 162 here.
And these are all admitted.
Correct, Jeff.
Yes, pursuant to prior court rulings or stipulation.
So if you could show us, please. Tell us about the layout. So tell us where the front door is. I see that at the top of the drawing there. Is that correct?
Yeah, towards where the sheriff's office, and when you can kind of see the indentation, which would be the front door.
Okay. And the front door opens to a living room and dining room?
Yep, correct. You walk in, there was a living room to the right. To the left was kind of a smaller dining room. You walk into the kitchen, which is visible there. Just off the kitchen, there's a small hallway, bedroom to the right, bathroom straight ahead, then another bedroom. You walk down that small hallway, it looks like there's I believe it says washer and dryer. That would lead you into the master bedroom. Off the master bedroom, there's a backyard. And then off the master bedroom, near where it says washer and dryer, were the stairs to the basement.
Okay. So when we're saying master bedroom, is this a room that was added onto the home, or was it naturally the master bedroom? What was your impression of it when you went there?
Yeah, so to me, it was a master bedroom. It looks like it had adult clothing in it. It had a king bed. It had just more stuff in it. It was clear to me that was the adult's bedroom.
Okay, you obtained information which individual stayed in which rooms prior to entering? Or
Correct.
At least prior to executing the search warrant?
Correct.
Okay. So let us know as we go through some of these pictures if you need to refer back to this.
Okay.
So here's 164. So did you learn if the shooter had 1 bedroom or 2 bedrooms?
2 bedrooms.
Okay. And so which bedroom is this that we're looking at?
So when you come in off the kitchen, there was the hallway. There was a bedroom to the right. There was a bathroom straight ahead. This would have been the bedroom to the left,
Okay.
immediate left in the hallway.
So photographs are generally taken when a search warrant is executed. Is that right?
Correct.
Are those photographs taken before or after things are disturbed?
It kind of depends on if someone at the scene is able to take pictures before, if there's an evidence technician.
Okay.
Generally, before we go in and search, there'd be pictures taken.
In this case, there was an evidence tech available. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and that was Detective Bizio, I believe?
Correct.
Okay, so these pictures were taken before the search was executed.
Yes.
So for lack of a better term, this is the natural state of the home you found on November the 30th.
Correct.
Okay. So what are we looking at here in this photograph, exhibit 164?
Yeah, so this was, I was made aware this was the shooter's bedroom. The bed was covered with various things. There's some school books on it. There was targets visible on the wall that had, there was apparent to be bullet holes in them.
Okay, I'm gonna do another angle here. This is 165, this is the same bedroom.
Correct.
So what are we looking at here?
Yeah, so that was, the shooter had a dresser, it looked like TV. There was things all over the floor. There was things all over the place, really.
Okay, so that boarded up window in the back, that it was adjacent to the master bedroom, right?
Correct.
Okay, and so the picture that we just looked at with the targets on the wall, that would be if you were taking this picture behind you.
Yes.
Okay. Were you able to tell why that window was boarded up?
Yeah, you know what, I don't know why that was boarded up. I was
Okay.
never made aware why that was boarded up.
And that led to the master bedroom, is correct?
I would believe so.
Okay.
That would lead to the master bedroom.
So
Yeah.
this is one,
I'm sorry to interrupt. I would have no objection for the prosecutor to just say why that's boarded like that, just so it's clear for the jury, so I don't have to go back to it. We don't
I
have
don't
to
know
go
if he
back to it.
knows. You know?
I asked
Sorry.
the witness, because I
Do
wasn't
you
there.
know? You don't know.
Wait,
Yeah,
wait,
I-
that's
I-
not our question.
Yeah.
I'm
He
just
doesn't
saying
know.
that he could, Mr. Keith could say it if he wanted to.
Okay, he doesn't, the witness doesn't know those.
Okay,
So, okay, this is 166, this is the same bedroom?
Correct.
Okay, just a different angle?
Yes.
Okay. And 167 is also the same bedroom, the other angle?
Yep.
Okay. And this was identified as one of the shooter's bedrooms.
Correct.
168, same bedroom.
Correct.
And 169, this is the same bedroom as well, this is the closet in that room.
Yes.
And this is 171, just a different angle from that closet.
Correct.
Okay, 172, are these the targets that we saw initially in exhibit 164?
Yes.
Okay, and have these targets been used or unused?
Yeah, they appear to be used.
Okay. That's 172. 173, this is just further down the wall with one of the two targets.
Yes.
This is 174, this is another picture, this is of the shooter's bed.
Yep.
Again, 175, same bedroom.
Correct.
Now this is 176. This is the nightstand in that room, would that be right?
Correct.
And 177, so you had talked about that the shooter was identified to have two bedrooms.
Yeah.
Okay, is this the second of the two bedrooms?
Yep, so that was the bedroom on the right side of the hallway, just across from the bedroom you're just looking at.
Okay, so again, this photograph was taken before the search warrant was actually executed.
Correct.
So it's 177. This is 178, this is the same bedroom.
Yes.
179, this is the closet of that bedroom.
Yes.
This is 183, this is on the bed of that bedroom, that'd be right?
Correct.
Okay, 184, same bedroom, different angle.
Correct.
185, same bedroom, this is the TV in that room.
Correct.
Right, this is 186, again, same room.
Yes.
This is 188, there was one bathroom in the home.
Yep, that was, when you walk in that hallway, bedroom to the right, the bathroom is straight ahead, and the other bedroom is to the left.
Okay, and this photograph fairly accurately depicts the condition of the bathroom on November the 30th.
It does.
It's 188. Okay, this is 189. Sir, what are we looking at in this photograph?
Yeah, so when you walk out of that hallway, you go down another hallway, and there was what was described to me as the master bedroom. When you walked in, that was the bed that was in the bedroom, and there was an open gun box with an empty box of 9mm ammunition on the bed.
Okay. Now, is this the condition that this gun case and empty box of ammunition were found on November the 30th, 2021?
Correct.
And that's on the master bedroom? bed?
Yes. Yes.
This is exhibit 191. This is the same master bedroom. This is on the nightstand.
Correct.
This is 192, it's the same room.
Yes.
Again, 193, this is also the same room.
Correct.
And 194, what are we looking at here?
So when you walk into the bedroom, immediately to the right of the doorway.
The master
was-
bedroom?
Yeah, the master
Okay.
bedroom was an armoire.
Okay. 195, this is the same armoire with a slightly different perception.
Correct.
196, is this still the room?
Yep, that would be the door that would lead out to the backyard, and then a TV stand with various drawers and things in it.
Okay. And were these drawers eventually searched?
They were,
197, same TV stand?
correct.
198, it's the same room, just a different angle?
Yep.
199, again, same master bedroom?
Correct.
Okay, this is exhibit 200. Sir, just so we're clear, moving back to exhibit 197. These drawers were searched?
Correct.
Okay, we're actually directed where to go to?
I was.
Okay, who directed you?
James Crumbley.
Okay, and so specific to the, if we're looking at this photograph, the right drawer, I'm sorry, not drawer, you tell me, which area did you find what was located here in exhibit 200?
Yeah, so when you're looking at that picture, to the right door there, you open that up and there was two shelving, you had shelves on it, and the gun safe was on the top shelf.
And who told you where to look for that?
James Crumbley did.
Okay, and that's already been admitted into evidence, and that has a locking mechanism on it?
It does.
Okay, were you told what the combination is?
I was.
Objection, Your Honor, just irrelevant to Jennifer's case, unless the information came from her.
Okay, well,
I'm sorry, what James would say is hearsay to this officer, so I would object for that reason.
isn't it?
Judge, it's relevant because the firearm was found in the defendant's home, shared home,
Okay,
and it
But that-
shows how the officer opened the case and recovered other weapons in the trial.
Your Honor,
okay,
the
but what he
objection,
said is hearsay. So you had a conversation with James Crumbley.
Yeah.
And then you found that case and opened it.
Correct.
And Judge, I'm sorry, she also testified, or she also said in her statement to the officer yesterday, Joe Bryan, in the interview that was admitted as evidence, that she knew where the firearm was found. And later
No,
on today,
Your Honor, she did not say that.
like,
She did not say that in the video. Or she did not talk about these firearms.
Sergeant Peschke is going to testify later on today. We're going to admit an in-car video with Jennifer's recordings will be admitted as an exhibit, and she's asked specifically about this.
And Your Honor, I would ask that the jury wait until then because I disagree with the prosecution's description of what that evidence will show.
Okay, but he already testified they had a conversation with James Crumbley and they went to this location and that he then opened that safe.
Yes,
Isn't that sufficient?
that's, well, how did he open the safe is important. I mean, you think, did you have to crack open the safe?
I did not.
Okay, so you were given the code to open the safe.
Correct.
Okay, and were things recovered from that safe?
Yes.
Okay, so without having to crack open the safe to recover the items, you learned how to open it,
I did.
okay? And then how did you open the safe?
Your Honor, I object to him saying what the code was because Jennifer Knowledge had no awareness of the code. And that's what the prosecution is hoping to slip in here as hearsay that James told this officer.
He said he had a conversation with James and then he opened the safe. He didn't say that Jennifer gave him the code,
Okay,
right?
yeah,
Right.
true.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so you talked to James Crumbley, and he gave you the code for the safe.
He did,
Okay, and tell us how you got in the safe.
by using the code that he gave me.
And what was it?
It was 000.
Okay, and that's the default code for that case.
Correct.
All right. Exhibit 200, okay. Now this is 201. We're looking at the same drawer here. I keep calling it a drawer, it's better called a shelf, right?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
more than a shell.
Okay, so we have this case that's been admitted in evidence, and then it looks like an article of clothing. And then underneath that, what did you find?
That was a holster, which is on the right there, and then 2 magazines, and there was a baggie of bullets in the back. I can't really see it there.
Okay. And this is 202. All right. You see 2 magazines and a baggie of bullets. That wasn't on the shelf when you walked into the bedroom, right? So that's what you pulled out of there?
Yeah, so that was, at that point, it had been removed from the shelf and it was placed into the bag, and the magazine was placed on the top of the TV stand there.
So this is 203. Again, this is the locking case. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so tell us what was found in the locking case.
So I located a 22 Kel-Tec handgun and then a 22 Derringer. The Kel-Tec's the black handgun and the Derringer is the silver handgun with the brown handle on it and some ear protection.
So this is what it appeared, and this is what it looked like when you opened the case initially.
Yes,
Okay. Here's 204. What is this?
that's the 22 Derringer.
It's just a closer room. We already have that in there. 205 is the same firearm, just from a different angle.
Correct.
Okay, 210. What are we looking at?
That's the 22 Kel-Tec that was recovered from the safe.
211. This is a close-up view of the Derringer.
Correct.
Okay, 212, when we're going back to one of the shooter's bedrooms, we saw that Packer's helmet in a different photograph. This is a close-up view of the nightstand.
Correct.
Okay, and what are we looking at here?
Those would be spent shell casings from fired from a weapon.
Okay, and that's the condition in which you observed it on November the 30th, 2021?
Correct.
Sorry, is that 212 or 213?
That's 212, so I think we just have a, 213 is slightly similar picture. All right, 216, this isn't a real firearm, is it?
No, it was I believe it was a BB or a pellet gun. It wasn't a.
But that's where it was found, in the shooter's bedroom on November the 30th, 2021.
Yeah, on the computer chair in the shooter's bedroom.
Okay, 217, just a slightly different picture. 218, what are we looking at here?
That would be a drawer from the dresser in one of the shooter's bedrooms.
219, same drawer.
Correct.
Okay. The 220, what's this?
It's an empty bottle of whiskey next to one of the shooter's beds.
Okay. Now, judging by the wall color, would that be the same bedroom that the targets were found?
Correct.
Right, and here's 221. This is the same bottle of whiskey, correct? Or empty
Yeah,
bottle?
it was just at the end of the bed, just sitting on the floor.
Okay. The 222, what is this?
That was a notebook that was recovered from I believe one of the drawers in the bedroom, dresser drawers in the bedroom.
The 223, what is this?
There were various knives that were found in the bedroom.
Okay, where were they found?
I believe right on, I think that's on the one of the shelving units in the room.
Okay, so one of the earlier pictures saw a wall shelving unit. Would this be a close-up view of that?
Correct.
Okay. This is 231. Now, what's this a picture of?
Yes, this would be that door would be the front door. If you were exiting the residence, when you're coming into the residence, to your immediate right was the couch. That TV was on the wall, which was facing the front of the house. So that was a view of the living room.
Okay, so the door that we see in the right-hand side there, that's the front entrance door.
Correct.
Okay, so this is what you would, when you walk into the house, this is what you walk into.
Yes.
Okay, it's 231. This is 232. What's this?
Same thing. When you'd immediately walk into the house, that's what you observe. That's the living room area, the couches. The TV would be just in front of that.
233.
Same thing, just a different view. So this angle would show that hallway, which is observed or straight ahead, would lead directly into the kitchen.
234. This is also the living room.
Yeah, it's the TV stand.
Okay, 235. What are we looking at here?
So that's the kitchen had an island. Underneath the island, there was various drawers that you could open up or shelving units and stuff. That was a box for the 22 Kel-Tec that was recovered in the master bedroom.
Okay, and that's an evidence as well. 236 is just a different angle view of where that Kel-Tec box was found.
Correct.
Okay, was the Kel-Tec box opened?
It was.
Okay, what was found in there?
When I opened the Kel-Tec box, it was a secured cable lock for a firearm. It was in the packaging still.
So 237 is just the side view of that Kel-Tec box you found?
Correct.
And 238, you said it was still in the packaging. Is this how it was found?
That's how it was found.
In fact, there's still keys in that locking mechanism, is that right?
Yeah, there was the keys were at the end there, towards the bottom of the lock.
Like where it looks like a black box there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And that's also an evidence. That's 238. 239, what's this a picture of?
I believe that's a a PlayStation unit or a gaming system that was recovered from the residence.
So then, things from the Crumbley home such as video games were seized as well?
Correct.
Gaming system, okay. So here's 242 with some of those,
Correct.
243 with more.
Correct.
And 244 as well.
Correct.
Okay, were the vehicles searched as well?
They were.
Okay, what are we looking at here?
That was the back of, I believe that was the gray Kia that was searched in the driveway.
Okay. It's 245. 246, this is the same vehicle, just different angle, that hatchback.
Correct.
This is 248. Okay, so there was no garage in this home, is that right?
No, there was a, behind the home or adjacent to the home, it was more like a shed that was behind the house.
Okay. Was there like an overhang type area where a barbecue grill is at?
Yeah.
Okay, so 248, is that to pick that?
Yeah, correct.
And what are we looking at here?
Yeah, so those would be BBs for a BB gun.
Which ones are we looking at?
It's like the plastic container,
Okay,
and it looks like there's more in the, which would be the original plastic container. Some nails. I'm not sure, that looks like that's probably something used to clean a grill next to it.
okay. So this is now going to be 253. You said there was a shed,
Correct.
okay, and so the shed was searched as well?
It was.
Okay, so what are we looking at here in exhibit 253?
So that'd be immediately, we walk into the shed to the right. There was multiple shotgun style BB guns located.
Okay, 253 depicts one of those?
Correct.
Okay, and here's 254, what is that?
Yeah, same thing. So that was when you walk in, there was in the shed, there was like a tool bench. On the tool bench, visible is another like Uzi style BB gun that was visible on the bench right when you walked in.
Okay. 255, what are we looking at here?
Yeah, same thing. It was another, I believe it was a BB or pellet gun that was also located kind of behind the original picture where the Uzi style gun was, or BB gun was.
256, tell us about this picture.
So that would be when you walk into the shed. It was there were some chairs on the ground. You can see behind it where like the shelving unit is. Yeah, just some chairs where it looks like somebody's been sitting in the shed.
Okay. 268, tell us what we're looking at.
Kind of hard to tell, but you can see the silver in the snow there. It was empty CO2 cartridges.
Were there just one empty CO2 cartridge or multiple?
I believe there's multiple. You can see, it's kind of hard to see, but there's multiple in the snow there.
There's 269, this is a better view.
Yeah, there's multiple in the snow.
You know what those are used for?
Yeah, for the BB guns or the pellet guns at the inside of the shed.
Okay, now, a second search warrant was executed at 112 East, is that true?
Correct.
Okay, so this is obviously, what we were looking at before, it was at night, that was the evening of November the 30th, 2021. This is the daytime, so anytime you see daylight, that would be the second search warrant.
Correct.
All right, okay. So this is the front of the house, exhibit 272?
Yep, correct. That would be the front of the house facing East Street.
Okay, this is 278. This is when you walk into the home, oriented to the left.
Yeah, so you'd walk in to the right of this picture would be where we saw the couches and the TV. This would be to the left. You can see the dining room area, and then kind of straight through that picture would be directly into the kitchen.
Okay, and those boxes, they weren't in the home November the 30th, 2021. Do you know if they were left on the porch, or do you not know?
I'm unaware when those were
Okay.
put in the house.
So here's 279. Is this standing as you walk in, turn to the left?
Yeah, so you walk into the left, and that was kind of like the dining room area with the table and the various Christmas decorations.
Okay. This is 280. What are we looking at here?
Yep, so that would be if you'd be walking through living room with the couches on your right, dining room on the left, and then straight ahead is the kitchen, and where you can see the open door at the end of the very end of the hallway. That's the master bedroom.
Okay, so earlier you testified that the Caltech box was in the kitchen island. Do you see the kitchen island in this picture?
Correct.
Where is it at?
So you can see it with the, it's got like the white board on the white board with the top. It looks like there's a binder. The black binder would be the top of the kitchen island.
Okay, so here's 281. Is that the kitchen island we're referring to?
Correct.
All right. Now this is also the kitchen, 282.
Correct.
283, the kitchen as well. This is the refrigerator.
Correct.
284, this is the island as well.
Yeah, so those two open, at the bottom of the island there, you can see the two doors. That's where at the bottom of that was a open area where the Caltech gun box was recovered from.
Okay, so on the bottom right of the screen?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. 285, this is also the kitchen.
Correct.
Okay, so the last picture was orange to the left, this would be orange to the right.
Correct. Yeah, on the outside of that would be where the driveway was, the side house.
286, what are you looking at here?
Yep, so when you were in the kitchen, I kind of described it earlier, you take a right, and there's a small hallway. At the end of the hallway was that bathroom. To the right was one of the shooter's bedrooms, and immediately across the hallway to the left was the second bedroom.
No, this is 287, what do we see here?
Yep, so that'd be the first bedroom to the right. It has a bigger bed in it from the earlier pictures.
All right. 288. Now, this is after the initial search was executed.
Yeah, this was done the next day, different, after the home had already been searched by detectives.
289, this would be identified as a shooter's second bedroom.
Correct.
All right. 290, same bedroom, different view.
Correct.
What do we see to the left of the bed there, shooter's bedroom?
Are we referring to the stand kind of to the left of the bed there?
On the ground.
Looks like a Gatorade bottle.
Was there a litter box on the ground?
Yeah, a litter box, yeah.
That's 290. 291, this is the same bedroom, now looking towards the closet and the door.
Correct.
Here's 293, this is down the hall looking at his, what we refer to as first bedroom.
Yeah, just directly across the hall was the first bedroom.
Okay, 296, this is the room with the boarded window
Correct.
from the hallway.
Correct.
297, again, this is after the initial search warrant was executed.
Correct.
300, what are we looking at here?
Yeah, so this would be if you were standing directly in the kitchen, you look down, there's a small hallway, narrow hallway with a washing machine, drying machine on your left, which you can see. And then walking straight ahead is to the entrance to the master bedroom and the sliding glass door that would lead to the backyard.
In 301, you identified earlier the washer dryer unit, is this what you're referring to?
Correct.
302, what's this?
Yeah, so when you were walking from the original picture, you saw the washer and dryer. To the left of the washer, and prior to getting to the washer and dryer to the left was a small little hallway that was filled with various items. And that was, what you're looking at right there is kind of like the landing leading to the basement.
Okay. We just had a few more to get through. 303, what are we looking at here?
That's the entrance to the master bedroom.
To the master bedroom,
Correct.
304, this is taken in the master bedroom. So the TV stand is to the left of this picture,
Correct.
and that's where the Caltech and Derringer were found.
Yep, you're looking at that TV there. It was in one of the open doors. You can kind of see that door open. On the right side of that was where the safe was found with the weapons in it.
Okay. 305, this is also the master bedroom.
Correct. If you came into the right, it was I believe it was a king size bed and then a couple end tables next to the bed.
And here's 306, what are we looking at here?
Similar view, to the right was that armoire, which you would see when you walk in to your immediate right when you came into the bedroom. Just a different angle of the bed with the armoire.
And here's 307.
So if you were kind of sitting on the bed, you'd be looking at the TV with the TV stand. That door in the bottom right there that's semi-ajar was where the safe was.
Okay.
With the weapons in it.
And here's 308, what are we looking at?
So 308 would be what I referred to. I believe that's to the landing area that leads to the basement.
Okay, this is
Different.
here's 309.
It's a landing area that leads to the basement.
Here's 316. So we had already looked at the picture of the barbecue grill. You identified that there was no garage but a shed. Where would be the shed in this area here?
Yeah, so this would be where that door of the landing was. You walk out and there was this little area with an overhang with a grill that's visible there. If you were to walk straight past that grill into the yard there to your left would be the shed.
And here's that 317, what we're looking at here.
Yeah, it's just more of the overhang area there. Kind of adjacent or the side of the house.
On November the 30th, when you first entered the home to secure the home for the search warrant, were you aware if the stove was on or off?
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, that's our other officers are here. Nothing further. Thank you, Jeff.
Cross.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Initially, when you got to the house, you said other officers had already arrived there, correct?
Correct.
What was happening with Jennifer the first time you saw her?
She was being hailed out of the house by another detective. By hailed, I mean being told to come out of the house.
And at the
She
time,
complied.
oh, sorry.
Yeah, she complied and came out.
She complied and came out. At the time when she was coming out of the house, being hailed out, she was on her cell phone. Is that fair?
No, so when I got there, I don't recall exactly what she was doing when she came out of the house. I just got there as she was walking out of the house. I don't recall if she was on her cell phone.
While she was walking out of the house, there were guns drawn. There were guns drawn, correct?
Correct.
How many police officers had guns drawn towards Jennifer Crumbley as she walked out of the house?
I couldn't say for certain. When I got there, she was already being told to come out of the house. So at the time, I wasn't really focused on who had their guns out. I was focused on watching the house and making sure nobody else came out. So I couldn't say how many people had their weapons drawn.
Would it be fair to say it was more than one gun?
Yeah, correct.
More than three?
Yeah, there was multiple detectives and officers there when I got there. Again, I don't know how many of them had their guns drawn. I know that I had my gun drawn.
You did have yours drawn
Correct.
and pointed at Mrs. Crumbley?
No, so when I got there, she was already coming out of the house. I was, like I said, I was more focused on, I believe I was near a tree on the side of the house. So at that time, I don't think I had my gun pointed at her now.
After Mrs. Crumbley came out of the house, and she did come out, correct?
Correct.
She was handcuffed.
So I didn't take part in her being taken to the vehicle, so I'm not sure if she was handcuffed.
And that's fine, I'll ask a different witness then. So after you got to the house, you saw her come out, saw the guns drawn. Did you see Jennifer Crumbley any further that day when you were in the house or otherwise?
After we had executed the search warrant, she was brought back into the house with James, and I saw her inside the house. I didn't have any further communication with her, no.
I just want to be clear about the guns and gun cases, boxes, some of the things we saw on the screen. If you need me to put an exhibit back up, let me know.
Okay.
Okay, so the 6 Sauer 9mm gun, the case for that gun, you saw in the master bedroom, open on the bed, correct?
Correct.
And there was a box of bullets, or an empty box of bullets next to that empty case, correct?
Correct.
In that case, the gun was not there.
Nope. When I initially came into the house and then we conducted the search warrant, it was an empty box.
And you know, and if you're not the right witness, let me know, that James Crumbley had gone to the house and discovered the Sig Sauer was gone from the house.
Yeah, so when I went to the house, I had no knowledge of anything that had occurred prior to me getting to the house. Like I said, I just observed the box where I saw it initially when I did the search, and then after, I don't know how it was placed there or when it was.
So when you were, I just want to be clear, the Sig Sauer was ultimately not in the Crumbley home.
Correct.
The Caltech and the Derringer were found in the Crumbley home.
Mhm.
Is that a yes?
Correct.
They were found in a gun safe.
Correct.
And they were found in the gun safe that was in the cabinet in their bedroom.
Correct.
And there was not ammunition stored with the Caltech or Derringer.
Yeah, so the safe, which we saw the pictures of, had the two firearms and some ear protection. There was ammunition found in that same dresser area behind it.
Okay, but not in the same, not within the the exact location of the safe, correct?
Yeah, it was behind, so I can show you the picture. You can kind of see it in the picture. The picture has the safe, and then behind the safe, there was the clothing, and underneath the safe, there was the two magazines. There was the gun holster. Then behind that, you can kind of see a box that did have ammunition. I don't recall what kind of ammunition or how much, but there was some located in the bedroom.
Okay, and that's ammunition that goes with those two guns, not the Sig Sauer.
Yeah, so the ammunition that was the empty box on the bed was 9mm. And to be honest, I don't recall what ammunition was found behind the safe, but there was ammunition found behind the safe.
Okay, and then I just want to be clear about one other thing. So there was a kitchen closet we saw where there was like a blender and some other appliances kind of on the floor. You testified that you found the box to the Caltech in that little kitchen area. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, correct.
And that box while that box was in there, there was no gun in the box or anything along those lines.
Nope, it was the Caltech box just had that cable lock, which was in the bag. That was all that was in there.
So the three guns that Jennifer Crumbley and James Crumbley had in their home, well, the three that we've talked about include the Sig Sauer, the Caltech, and the Derringer. It's fair to say there were not any other guns in the home aside from BB guns or pellet guns.
Yeah, so I located the 22 Derringer, the 22 Caltech, and then obviously the firearm, the Sig Sauer was recovered at the school. And I didn't have any part in the recovery of the actual weapon used.
Well, to me, it looks like they've got a lot of guns, but I can't tell the difference between a BB gun and something else. So I just want to be sure, aside from knowing about the Sig Sauer at the school and the Caltech and the Derringer, all the other guns that we saw in the pictures, those were BB guns or pellet guns.
Correct.
And the casings that we saw on the ground in the snow, those were from BB guns or pellet guns.
Yeah, so the CO2 would be used to operate some of the BB guns that were found in either the shed or the bedroom.
And in the backyard, you could tell that they had shot BB guns there before because there's also targets, correct?
I recall the BBs that were located. There was the empty CO2 cartridges, which would indicate that they were used. I don't recall specific targets in the backyard, but I do recall the other things there.
And then when you were testifying, there was very brief testimony that there was a litter box. That was in the second bedroom of the Crumbley son, correct?
Yeah, when you walk to the right left was bedroom, that was the bedroom to the immediate right, and right next to that was the bathroom, and across the hall was what I think we described as the first bedroom.
And just very quickly, when you were executing the first warrant, the Crumbleys had a dog in the house.
Yeah, there was a dog in the house. I didn't have any dealings with the dog. I believe the uniformed officers went into the house first, and I think the dog was friendly, so we didn't have any issues with the dog.
And then there was a cat and a kitten. Do you recall that? And if you don't, that's okay.
I don't recall the cat and the kitten.
Okay, I have nothing further.
Redirect.
Just briefly, Detective, why did you approach the home with guns drawn?
Yeah, so I mean, again, we didn't have a whole lot of information about what we were going into. I mean, obviously, we had just come from the scene of shooting. Yeah.
So the information you were given, well, you knew that there was a mass casualty event at Oxford High School. Correct. And you found
Your
out.
Honor, I would just object to the leading questions.
Just trying to worry the witness to where he was and why.
Okay, question answers, please.
So you had already been at the Oxford High School?
Correct.
And you knew what had happened there
Your Honor,
Okay.
I would object to the leading.
Well, it didn't, that was a yes or no. Did he already know what had happened at Oxford High School? That would certainly affect whether or not he'd approach a house with his gun drawn, right?
And the assignment to secure 112 East, you told us that you were given an assignment by Lieutenant Hicks.
Correct.
Okay. And at that time, did you know what you were going to find there?
No.
And what information did you have at that point?
That the shooter resided there, and to go to the house and secure the house prior to the search warrant being drafted. There wasn't a whole lot of information given at the time. Everything was kind of quick moving at that moment.
Okay. Well, this is Exhibit 200 on the screen here. You were asked about the 22 ammunition. So in that locking case with the 000 combination, there was no ammunition in that case, correct?
No, there was not.
But you did find ammunition in this same location.
Yeah, so I guess you can't see it, but it was underneath the,
So I'm moving
yeah,
to
you can
201.
kind of see where the two magazines are. There's a box behind it. It's
The
like a
gray, red, and black.
Yeah, yep, that's the box to ammunition. I don't recall what specific caliber was recovered, but it was a box with ammunition. It's right behind the holster right there.
Okay. Okay, I've nothing further, thank you.
So you can step down and you're excused. Thank you. Who is the next witness gonna be?
Sergeant Peschke.
Okay, short, long, medium, long?
I mean, I don't want to, not short. So if we could take a brief 10-minute break, it might be a good time.
Good.
If the court is so inclined.
Yeah, sure, sure. Okay, so. Okay.
All rise to the jury.
I got a note from the jury during the break.
As long as the jury can be fair and impartial, I think it's an issue.
Do you want me to ask?
I would ask, only because we've had witnesses from Benston testify, so I'd ask that we inquire into the juror.
Okay, I'm gonna read the question.
May
Okay, a juror says,
Your Honor, we have made a concerted effort to not say any of the places of employment or businesses
Yeah.
for any witness, so just,
yeah, well, someone said it though.
I
was a
believe
witness.
opposing counsel did, but we've made an attempt for all of the witnesses not to identify specific places.
Your Honor, I didn't read I didn't even realize that the prosecution, there's no order preventing the release of the name of where Mrs. Crumbley worked. I didn't violate any order.
I'm not
I
suggesting
didn't
that,
say,
Your Honor.
I think that saying the work location triggered number 15 to send us this note. And it sounds like she works indirectly with someone who is with Ms. Crumbley's former employer. She doesn't say that she knows anybody from there, but after the break, I'm gonna bring her in and ask her, okay?
Sounds good,
Yeah,
thank
she
you.
doesn't say she knows anybody, but she just, I actually am appreciative when these jurors say that I maybe know someone. I think they're doing what they're supposed to, so. All
I
right,
just want to make sure I didn't do anything wrong by saying your name.
you didn't do anything wrong.
Okay,
I didn't suggest you did.
Yeah, that's what
I
I,
was just trying to give the warning to the court before.
Yeah,
It's-
well, that's the reason that the juror recognized.
Got it,
Yeah.
perfect, thank you.
Okay, so I'll be back.
All right.
15 and briefly, okay?
I know.
I know.
Oh, wait. Oh. I thought you had them all coming in.
No. Hello, number
Hi.
15, you can be seated.
Okay,
Don't worry.
I just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of the situation.
Oh, yeah, okay, so you sent me a note indicating that you perhaps have a work relationship with some of the case. Okay, so several of the jurors, you guys are kind of in two camps. You know, you got north and south going back there, two different jury rooms, and I've had a request for more menu items for lunch. All right, so I've been working in the courthouse for over 32 years. I can see you all doing the math. And we wanted to do that so that we wanted to accommodate you. We know this is a stressful trial and you're taking time out of your private life, and we've asked you not to read a newspaper or to do anything. But we also don't want you going down to the cafeteria because it creates too many opportunities for inappropriate reaction, not necessarily you with someone else, but someone else with you. We don't expect you to be here with us very long, only about 5 more weeks. In any event, we're going to add a couple of menu items, and the alternative would be to bring your own lunch, which is what a lot of jurors do. But I think we're adding a salad or something. I don't know, something. Anyway, we're doing our best. Okay. All right, so if you think it's really bad, you, for some reason, you could bring your own lunch, but I don't want anything to happen. People do silly things and could approach you and, okay? All right. Who's the next witness?
Sergeant Matthew Peschke.
All right, could you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, could you pull the door toward you, have a step up, have a seat, state your name for the record, and spell your first and last name?
Matthew Peschke, Matthew
Thank you, go ahead, prosecute.
All right, good afternoon, Sergeant. Can you tell me, or tell the jury how long you've been employed by the Oakland County Sheriff's Department?
for 20 years now.
And you are currently a sergeant, correct? And what's the scope of your assignment and duties at this moment?
My assignment and duties at this moment is I'm a detective sergeant in the Special Investigations Unit at the Oakland County Sheriff's Office.
I want to direct your attention to November 30th of 2021. Do you remember that day?
I do.
Can you recall where you were when you heard about the shooting at the Hoxburg High School?
I was at the Pontiac substation.
Okay, and can you tell the jury what you did? How did you hear about it?
My partner at the time, Kevin Thomas, came into my office, told me there was an active shooter at the Oxford High School.
And what did you do?
I grabbed a vest and I got to my car and I left for Oxford County.
Okay, did you lights and sirens as fast as you could? Did you join the caravan or did you?
I went lights. I didn't have sirens at the time.
Okay, and about how long after that did it take you to arrive at the school?
Maybe 20 minutes.
What did you do when you approached the school?
I went in through the entrance by the pool.
What did you observe when you drove into could you get to the parking lot of the school?
I got into the parking lot. I double parked at that point and I went into the school.
Okay, and can you tell the jury about what time that was, if you know?
I don't know.
Were you aware of whether or not the shooter was in custody?
I had heard on the way over the radio that the shooter was in custody.
Okay, at that point, what did you know about injuries or fatalities?
I knew that there had been one or two homicides at that point and injuries. I wasn't sure how many.
Okay, so you said, which entrance did you go into?
I went in by the pool.
And what did you do?
At that point, I located other members of the sheriff's office. There was I did a search of that pool area with a couple other deputies. We went back, reported to command, which was being made at that point. We went back and searched a couple hallways in that pool area again, looking for survivors, witnesses, victims, anything like that.
Okay, did you find any students?
No.
All right. What was your understanding at that point of where the students were?
From what I had heard is a lot of students had ran away from the high school to the Myers. And other students were being escorted out that were still in classrooms by other deputies.
Okay. What you referenced a minute ago about command. Do you recognize this person sitting next to me?
Yes,
And who's that?
it's Lieutenant Willis.
All right, and what was his role there that day?
He was, he became the officer in charge. He was one of the command, reporting command that we go to.
So when you say command, were you finding Lieutenant Willis at that point? Was he instructing you or was somebody else instructing you?
Captain Hill was also there.
Okay, so after you cleared the pool area and another hallway with officers, what did you do next?
At that point, I was advised by command, the structure, to go to the house and the residence of Ethan and secure it.
We've decided that I've asked that we not say his name, so we refer to him in these proceedings as shooter.
Sorry.
That's okay. My fault, I should have explained that to you. You were told by command to go to the residence and, first, were you told whose residence it was and who lives there or anything about the house?
We were told to go to the shooter's residence, secure it, preserve it for evidence, and there was a search warrant being drafted.
Okay. And did you do that?
Yes,
Do you know, if you can recall, how long did it take you to get from Oxford High School to the shooter's residence?
just a couple minutes, I believe.
Okay, did you go by yourself or with somebody else?
I was in my own car, but I went with Deputy Steele or Detective Steele at the time, Detective Stoyek and Detective McPherson. I
Okay.
believe there was a marked unit already at the house
And you were instructed to do what when you got there?
to get any occupants out, secure it, look for if anybody was injured, destruction of evidence, anything like that.
Okay, you mentioned a search warrant. Were you told that there was a search warrant or they were attempting to get one? What were you
The
told?
search warrant was being drafted. It was not signed yet in order for us to begin our search.
Okay, is this something that you've done frequently in your career?
Yes.
All right, and what do you typically do when you arrive at a residence of any kind and you know there's a search warrant they're attempting to get a search warrant? What's the protocol?
The search warrant gives you authorization to enter the house. So, and to search the house, more or less. So when you arrive on scene, normally as you're entering, the guns are drawn, you don't know what's in there, you don't know about animals, you don't know anything like that. You go in, you clear the house, make sure all occupants are either taken out or preserved in an area with other people. And then you, from that point, you hold the house and you preserve it. Normally, I make sure nobody's in there, and then we leave and have somebody watch that house. But not leave the area, we stay in the area until the search warrant is done by someone else.
Okay. When you were instructed to go to the house and do this, what did you have knowledge of regarding the shooter, his parents, what led up to it? What was your knowledge at that point?
I had knowledge of the shooter's name. I had knowledge that high school students were killed and injured, and that was pretty much about it
Okay,
at that point.
thank you. Did you have any knowledge about who else lived in the house?
No.
Okay, so you knew almost nothing. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
I knew nothing when I went to the house.
Okay, when you arrived on scene, what did you observe?
I observed a male out walking in an area by it was like an awning. And then I observed a female coming out onto the porch.
All right, do you see that, at some point, did you learn that female's name?
Yes,
What was her name?
Jennifer Crumbley.
Do you see her in the courtroom today?
I do.
Can you describe something she's wearing?
She has on a tan sports coat.
May the record reflect he's properly identified the defendant.
The record will still reflect.
Okay. What did you do when you drove up to the house?
I drove up to the house. I put on a vest, and we lined up at the door and we went in.
Talk to me about why you put on a vest.
This is an active shooter scenario. This is I'm protecting myself with my vest. I don't know what I'm walking into.
Okay. And when you said we, who else was with you at the time?
It was McPherson, Detective Stoyek, and Detective Steele.
All right, did anyone have their guns drawn?
Yes,
Who?
I did, and I'm almost positive everybody else.
Why are you positive of that?
That's normal.
When you say normal, what do you mean? Is
I
that
mean-
protocol or is that, because I think for a lot of us, that's not normal. So I'm trying to get you to understand, to make the jury understand why why you would do something like that.
Well, like I explained, we didn't know what we were going into, so we were just making sure we were protecting ourselves.
Is that something you do frequently when you approach a house to execute a search warrant or to clear the house?
Yes.
Okay. What did you do next?
We cleared the house, and at that point, we came back outside.
Okay. At that point, did you know whether or not the defendant and her husband had been at a substation, or did you know anything about any statement they'd made?
No.
Okay. Did you know that if they had seen their son or not?
No.
Okay. So what did you do with or ask the defendant to do, if anything?
Can you rephrase?
Yes. At some point, you had an opportunity to interact with the defendant, correct?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury how that happened?
She was seated in the back of a patrol car in front of the house.
Whose patrol car?
Weingart's.
Okay. And at some point, was she in the back of another patrol car?
I never saw her in the back of another patrol car.
Okay.
Deputy Zajac was also on scene in a marked car.
Okay. So what was the first interaction you had with her?
When she was in the back of Deputy is it Weingart's? I believe it's Weingart's, yeah.
Okay. And what did you do, if anything?
I advised her she wasn't in custody, and I originally jumped in the driver's seat, but then I walked around to the back seat and I opened her door.
Why did you do that?
She's not in custody. I just wanted to have a conversation with her.
Okay. Did you leave the door open or closed?
I opened it.
Okay. Did she express a preference about whether it was open or closed?
She liked it open.
All right. This conversation takes place for about 49 minutes. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Were you talking the entire time?
No.
What else were you doing while you were talking with her? Were you doing anything else? Were there breaks in that conversation?
There may have been breaks near the end of it where I was looking for further instruction.
Okay, were you always standing right beside the car?
No.
Okay, and did she have any requests?
A cigarette or her phone.
Did you accommodate those?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Your Honor, I'm going to play what's been marked as People's Proposed 342. It's the in-car video that Sergeant Peschke just introduced.
Your Honor, I have no objection.
Okay, 342 is a minute.
I do have a really quick question if we can approach very, very, very quickly.
Sorry.
Okay. So I do want to just put on the record that while this is a lengthy video, it is 49 minutes, it's a critical, we believe, and so I just am asking for the jurors' patience and viewing it.
There might be some boring parts, is that what you're saying?
I don't
Some
believe,
lulls,
I do
some
not believe there are
lulls.
any boring parts, but
Lulls.
that's me.
Lulls.
I think even the reason for the entire video is even during the period where there's absolutely no conversation, it's an opportunity to view and observe the defendant. So I just want to put on the record why I'm playing the whole thing.
Okay.
And Your Honor, we have no objection. We stipulate to the exhibit.
Well, for, in the interest of completion too, it's good to play the whole thing. So.
Okay.
All right.
We're just down at the first station.
Sergeant Peschke, do you know about what time this starts? I mean, actually not about what time, do you know what time that she gets in the car?
Not exactly. Sorry, I was.
Okay, that's okay. So what, can you tell us what the time says?
It's 14:57 and right now.
I mean, I know my son was the one that shot the school, so I'm not quite sure like why they're back to cop car.
Well, right now, all I know is we're detaining you until investigators get things figured out.
Can everyone get some air back here?
That's what I'm thinking up to do.
I left the stove on.
I think they got shut off. 421, 411, 214. I don't know if I can tell you that. When detectives were Oakland County. So, what's your date of birth?
417.
Were you handcuffed when they brought you in the house?
Not, well, they handcuffed me.
Okay. Well. So, you, that. Fine, hold on. Jennifer, has anybody told you what's going on?
I was at the substation and I saw my son and answered questions and I know what he did.
Okay. All right, so you understand, you're not in custody, you're just, right now, we need to check your house for evidence.
That's fine.
Okay, would you be willing to sign the form? For us to check, we can go through your house. Okay. Is his room far in the back? Ethan, is your son's name Ethan?
Yeah.
Okay. Is his room all the way in the back?
No, he's got, the two heads on either side of that.
So he has two bedrooms?
Yeah, because his bedroom got so out of control, he moved to the guest room and I got control and I had got a chance to take it.
Whose room is all the way in the back?
That was mine. And my husband,
Okay. What's your name?
James.
Is that Ethan's dad?
Yeah.
Okay. Does he own a firearm?
Yes.
Ethan does?
No,
James,
James does.
did you see that box that was on your bed in the back there?
I haven't had a chance to go back for it.
Okay. What's a good phone number for you?
248-760-7502.
Did Ethan have a phone?
He did.
What's that?
Stored in my phone, I had my phone when the phone broke that. Police vehicle, I can get it.
Okay. And your husband's name is James?
Yes.
James St. Lance?
Yes.
Who's Hazel? Who? Hazel? No? Okay. Okay. How's your son this morning?
I left work early and James said, we got in a fight last night, I looked at his grades and they were bad. And I got onto him and took a step away from him, and then this morning on the way to school, James said he seemed fine, he apologized, and it was normal, there was nothing abnormal. Nothing, nothing.
He left just like normal? Did he walk?
No, James drove him to school.
Oh, okay. All right. Did James here?
He's in, back in one of guys out there.
When did you get home from work?
The minute he told me there was an active shooter after high school, and we couldn't get a hold of Ethan, I left, I'm kind of quickly. I don't know what time it is right now.
Okay.
We
So,
went right to the substation.
all right, so you were gone this morning before Ethan left for school.
Yeah.
And James, what time did you leave?
Well, wait a minute. Jane took him first, I woke up late this morning, I left after.
Okay, were you sleeping in the bed?
Was I sleeping in the back bedroom?
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I sleep, that's where I woke up.
Right, but, so I guess it's kind of hard for me to ask you because there's a gun box on your.
Yeah, that's when we found the active shooter, we were at school this morning, because the counselor found some drawings on paper. And said, didn't seem to concern to stay at school. And then we found the active shooter, James came home and he looked open the gun box, and the gun was gone, and we had the bullets hidden in two separate spots, and the bullets were gone, and it's believed like, oh shit.
Okay.
I think that's. And
Okay.
I drove you straight, because we called Logan County and told them what we thought, and they called us out the substation. That's where we were.
So,
We just got back from there.
so you guys noticed the gun was missing this morning?
No,
No.
no.
So I guess explain it to me again.
Didn't know about it, didn't know it until we heard there was an active shooter.
Okay.
And we were just at the counter office because Ethan was drawing some weird images on some paper. And then all of a sudden there was an active shooter, and James flew home, and he's like, I had the gun hidden, and I showed him where I hid the bullets, and they were both missing. So sometime, I don't know.
Well, it did to be sometime today, did you sleep in that back bed?
Yeah.
So,
I woke up in there, and there was nothing abnormal.
right, if the box wasn't on your bed, did you make your bed?
No.
Okay, so if the box is on your bed, so what I'm just trying to get a time scale on it and start to pick up the gun.
I don't think he could have. Not this morning.
Unless, do you think, is it possible that James maybe, like, check the box for the handgun and put it on the bed?
Well, yeah, I told you, yeah, after we
I
found
guess
out.
that's the part that I was.
Yeah, when we, after we heard there was an active shooter, and after, when we talked to the counselor at the school today, he came here during this whole time this was going on.
Mhm.
And that's when he noticed the gun was gone, that's when he called you guys.
Okay, what kind of images was he drawing?
And my phone, I didn't look at that closely because it's on the bumper of that.
On the bumper of their car. When are they?
Well, now that, when I was at the substation, I looked at them more closely, they're a little disturbing. Well, they're very disturbing, they look like he just fucking did it.
Okay.
Sorry.
No.
I don't
I
even know what the hell I'm thinking. I'm kind of in shock. Like, he's never been in trouble. He's never done anything. Like, he's never done anything wrong. He's a good kid.
Right. Well, we are too. And there was kind of like additional.
This is fucked up.
So,
Like, my son just ruined his life. I'll probably never see him again. Like, what the fuck?
right. How old is he?
17. That's what we're not gonna people.
No, I wouldn't. The green one?
Yeah.
Well, what time do you think you were up at the school today to see the counselor? Do you know what counselor it was?
Hopkins.
Hopkins?
And now that I look at him closely, This was just, we literally left the school, I went back to work and then this started happening.
I'm gonna take a picture of this, okay? Is this on like a homework?
It was on a math assignment, that they were supposed to turn in.
What did he say when you stopped talking to him today with the council?
He said he was sorry that we lost the dog, his best friend got sent to an OCD facility treatment thing, and my mother-in-law passed away, and he said he's dealing with a lot of stress, he just put thoughts on paper, it's the first time I've ever seen anything like this, or he's ever been
I've never
bugged.
seen anything like this.
No, and he's never like, he's, I don't know.
Do you know that he knows how to like handle a firearm?
Yeah, because we take him to the training,
Okay. So you teach him about.
that's our hobby, that we go to gun range, I mean, that's what we do.
Is that the only gun you have in the house?
Well, the one, aside from the one that he took to school, yes, there's like BB guns, but
There's BB guns, and then I think it was a 45 caliber that was at the school.
that was, 9mm.
The 9,
It should have been.
but you don't have it. Like,
There's,
what is it? Block?
no, it's a SIG or something,
Okay. Just say.
which we just got on Sunday. Friday. We took him to the gun range, so they can,
Oh, you just bought it?
yeah, I mean, we've had another one for a long time.
Okay. What's the other one?
It's my husband knows, I don't know. It's a 22.
Okay. Okay.
And then they went up and we.
Is he been, like, talking to you about it? I mean, so he had bad grades, but I mean.
They weren't horrible, we just had to notice his geometry got to an E. I mean, I'm not a math person, I just told him to get a D minus, I'm happy.
Right.
And then, I looked on his power school last night, and I saw an E, and I said, third grade, get just walk back up, there's no gun range, there's no phone, there's no nothing, those are the two trigger points. And then, he was mad last night, this morning he seemed fine.
Okay.
It's not the first time he's in trouble for his grades.
Right. Okay.
I mean, it's like, well, he was a good kid.
Right.
Like, he just doesn't do anything. He like stays at the house. And I don't know. He loves his animals, and I never would have.
Well, I'm not. I mean, this is I don't think he's a bad kid. I think he might have been upset about something today.
I mean, I never even like it's not even any mental issues. Like he's never exerted any type of anger. He's never exerted anything. Like he's just like one of those mellow, laid back kids. We've always had a hope, and he'll talk about stuff. Like I don't get it.
Right.
I don't get what happened.
Okay. Well, I mean, like you said, what grade was he in there?
They're not gonna release his name on the news, are they?
It won't be for a while, but I mean, this is I'm sure your neighbors are already talking.
Right, I know.
You know, I mean,
I just had to, I got handcuffed outside my front door, that was great.
yeah. Crumbley. You guys own her?
But I think they always.
And then there's 7 I believe one of them was a teacher. Do you know which teacher he was having? Like, do you know who he was having a problem with? Well, I mean, like his grades.
Well, like, wow, was like, I had a teacher last year, I didn't remember her name.
Was it the same school even?
Yeah.
Jennifer. Maybe when you take a second, why don't you take a second? Do you ever complain about anybody in school? Being bullied?
I asked them for reasons, school is a job.
Did you have friends?
Yeah, but not a lot. The one best friend he had was sent on Halloween to an OCD treatment facility in Wisconsin out of the blue, and that was like his best friend. And so he didn't really have anybody outside of that, so I
Okay,
don't know.
okay. If you could sign this for your house. Just gonna need to go in, and I would like to get that gun box. See if any other weapons are missing.
My husband knows what's going
Does it? Okay.
I have a cigarette.
We got that.
No, my husband's got it.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get that.
And maybe a jacket.
Yes, well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna roll this thing up.
No, I don't want the idiot. I just really want a cigarette. Now I have really smoke.
I just wanted to relay something for you, and then we can do a letter check for, Board clear, we're coming back to the, how did you get your, people, there, Roger? You going up? Yeah. I see right there. If anybody.
I didn't want to smoke in her.
No, it. Go ahead, actually, just have. Yep. Easy enough.
No, I just keep up, just keep up.
I'm gonna go get a bag and I have to do it. So, either open it.
Nathan. Carol. I can't talk here about, anyway, it's on the national news. I'll shoot one of them. Remind me, get out of the match, because we get back.
I'm sorry?
No, I'll talk to you later. That's fine. Hey, I didn't even tell her, so I told her, Northeast, you could see it, I got, they didn't know. I either, community or on the road, on 11 morning.
And we're gonna want to kind of permit delivery that on each control, not that too, because we have our first two policy.
That's the difference, you got my control. I want to be like, you're like a pass, so you want, you for you, I'm gonna take it out, and then I'll recognize it. That's 100. Radio power 1400, 1412. I'm not gonna touch it, just. You want to talk about it?
Coming in, with water to your home, they're gonna come in off Warrior Road, or 411 posted, and they're gonna come in where 15 or whatever, let them through, and I know he comes through. I'm good.
Sorry. So,
Oh, no. It's all good.
yeah, my biggest fear was that he didn't turn it back himself.
And you just check it out, personal card, smart card. We have to do it for the individual, to come in. twice that already. Our children village, 5990 and 5990. For a little bit, you put no guys, you're paying back now, yeah, and there's no way to get out. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know, so we're just, this is a house around here that plays an interest. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, good day. I am gonna give myself one video. They're committed on Main Street here. They're all here. And what I have, residents at 135. You will be let them get down there. Yeah, that's fine, just make sure you can. Turn over radio, please, I think that.
The number is 21-249-546, repeating 249-546.
Right. You got your fire, you got them. Thank you. Want to go back there? Right. Who's over there, James? Yeah, give me a few minutes, I'll get back to you. Is it? Are you on, Third and D Street? So.
Yeah.
Okay, so this might take a little while. So what I'm gonna do, I didn't realize you'd already talked to a sergeant earlier. So with all the chaos going on, there's a little bit of a misunderstanding on everybody's part. So what I'm gonna do is, I can't technically let you go back in the house because they wanna do a search warrant. So what I can do is if you guys wanna go get a cup of coffee, go get a drink, leave. Sergeant Brian said he will call you as soon as the search warrant is done on your house. But I can't let you go back in right now. So I don't know, that's what Detective Stoyek also told your husband. I don't know if you have your car keys. No? If you don't keep guns in the car? Okay. So, yeah, I mean, do you want to think about it for a second, or wait until your husband, or, I mean, what do you?
I need to get my car keys, I mean, I don't know, I mean, the whole farm neighborhood probably thinks like we're monsters and
That's why I'm gonna try to get you out of here instead of just having you sit up.
yeah, but I guess.
Is that okay? Alright, so.
And I'm just saying, like,
So Jackie,
I
yeah,
don't care about Jack, I got hoodies in my car, I need my charger from battery, so.
okay, get a charger in the car.
I don't know if I took it with me or not, it'd be plugged in if I didn't.
We'll just have a guy who'll go in with you, to make sure everything's cool, and then, Sergeant Brian will call you when he comes.
And just make sure the one cat, there's two cats, but they don't get out.
I didn't see it.
Well, you're not gonna see one, one's kind of a kitten, and that's my son's cat.
Okay.
That's one thing he asked me to take care of. But
Okay,
I'm not gonna be seeing him. I don't even know.
well, you got children's village, so we'll.
Yeah,
I know, but.
he's responsible for families work like there,
Yeah.
and that ultimately looks back on us because here we are.
Yeah, I didn't know that you had asked for an attorney either.
Yeah,
Do you want an attorney just for your son, or?
I just don't, I work for a company that has attorneys and was there when I washed out, and he said, don't talk to anybody without attorney present, so he texted me, I was there, but I don't even know, I don't, this is something you.
Alright. Yeah, why don't you come out and I'm gonna let you make your decision.
Yeah, I get it.
Nothing further, Your Honor. Boss?
The defense has no questions.
All right, thank you, Sergeant. Sergeant?
Yes.
You may step down.
Thanks.
Who's next witness?
Judge, I think we can get through one more witness, but we do need to address a matter outside the presence of the jury first.
Okay. I'm gonna give you 5 to 10 minute break. We're gonna see how this resolution is.
All right, for the jury. Oh, yeah, thank you.
All right, you may be seated.
Judge, we have Robert Cotellis here from the crime lab.
Robert Cotellis?
Yes. So it's my understanding the defense counsel objecting to exhibits 13 and 22. So we need to have a ruling on those. I would ask that the court instructs the media not to film those two photographs because it does have imaging of a minor.
Okay.
So we could go through it on the screen, but I don't want to broadcast.
They've been very
hallway, we'll be ready.
I think he'll be the last witness today,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
Should we bring the jury back in?
Yes.
We're ready whenever the court is.
Let me ask you, before, last night I let them all go, and then because I thought we're going through pictures, Ms. Williams called them all back and told them to come an hour earlier. It ended up being a good thing because of the weather, but are there any, aside from the issue with regard to what you filed and then they're going to respond to, that we've already discussed some on the record, are there any issues before, because after this witness, I'm going to tell the jury to leave. And certainly, if they had been here at 8:30 this morning, they would have sat for 2 hours before they saw a witness, which is not good. So,
I believe after going through the email that Ms. Smith sent our office, I don't think there are any other objections,
okay.
but of course, Ms. Smith can.
Are there any other issues aside from what you filed and they're going to respond to that we've already made a partial record about?
Not at this point.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to know before I.
Your Honor, I'm saying that, but I also don't know what I know somewhat what their plan is, but I don't want to have you yell at me later that I'm not bringing up an issue.
I'm not going to yell at you. I just want to get the jury on their way. I'm trying to manage the situation. And they would have sat here for 2 hours this morning.
But I think that the question is, the exhibit list that we provided, is there any objection to any of the exhibits on the exhibit list?
Yeah, I just want you to.
Yes,
let me know.
there is, but not with, there's an objection with, and I've already let you know this, with respect to the way that the prosecution has redacted the journal, which in part has been deemed admissible by the court. So I believe that's an objection.
Portions of it.
Portions of it. I am just making sure that I will be able to impeach and cross-examine on portions that are redacted by the prosecution currently right now. The
Who are you
prosecution,
impeaching though?
the journal. The people have certain statements coming in, but the journal itself impeaches those statements even within the journal. So for impeachment, I'd like to be able to ask about other writings in the journal, even if they're not admitted as substantive evidence.
Okay, well, I guess we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
That's in our last witness, Judge.
And then,
So-
Your Honor, let me just double check the witness list, or I'm sorry, the exhibit list, see if there's anything else. I think we have, are you guys still skipping exhibits?
All I wanted to know is if there's any major issues, because, last night at 5:30, there was maybe a plan to go through 55 pictures. So if something like that were to come up again, I'd want to have the jury come in
I
later.
don't think so, Judge. If we can
Okay.
get started, we can have our last witness today, and then
All right, I'm just checking. I don't like them sitting around. I don't like them sitting around changing my lunch menu. So.
Your Honor, aside from that, the one issue I put on the record, which you said we'll get to later, I don't believe there's any other objections.
Okay, so I'm gonna bring it back in. All right?
thank you, Judge.
Thanks, Judge.
Judge, I'll notify the court when it's these specific photographs. And I'll ask the court at that point to request the meeting at the time.
Yeah, please.
All right, adjourned.
All right, you may be seated. We're gonna hear our last witness of the day. All right, who would that be, prosecutor?
Excuse me, Robert Cotellis.
Here it afternoon. Could you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please step up, have a seat, and state your name for the record, spell your first and last name.
Robert F. Cotellis Jr., ROBERTKOTELES.
Go ahead, Peschke.
Thank you. Sir, how are you employed?
Employed with the Oakland County Sheriff's Office Forensic Laboratory.
And how long have you been there?
I'm in my 17th year.
Okay. In total, how long have you been with the Oakland County Sheriff's Office?
In my 17th year, so all
Total
those
17 years.
correct.
Okay, thank you. Tell us, please, what is your specific title with the Sheriff's Office Forensic Laboratory?
I'm a forensic laboratory investigator leader. That's my HR name, if you will, but I'm the crime scene supervisor and the laser print supervisor.
Okay. When you say crime scene supervisor, what does that mean?
I have a team of 6 people that are on my team, and I supervise those 6 when it comes to any crime scenes that needs processing. Sometimes they may happen during the day. I would say that's usually my night job because I do laser prints during the day. But I lead that team to do crime scene investigations when called upon.
Now tell us, please, what's your background?
I have a forensic science degree from Michigan State University.
Okay. Now, how often would you say that you get called out to do a crime scene analysis?
It depends on what year it was or what time frame of my career. Currently, I'd probably say we average about 2 crime scenes a month. We have to keep in mind that we only do major crime scenes. I have other teams that I send out to do I would say, lesser crimes that are already on the road. So as far as the major crime scenes, we'd probably do 2 to 3 a month.
Okay, when you say major crime scenes, what exactly does that mean?
Typically, they're going to be homicides or officer-involved shootings or criminal sexual conduct cases.
I'd like to direct your attention now to November the 30th of 2021. Do you recall that day?
Yes, I do.
Okay, were you working that day?
Yes, I was.
In what capacity were you working then?
I was actually in the lab working on my latent print work.
12:51 in the afternoon, November the 30th. Do you recall what happened?
Yes, I do.
Right. And were you notified of the attack at the Oxford High School?
Yes, I received notification at 1:15 p.m. on that day to respond to the school.
Okay. What was your purpose for responding to the school?
I was the on-call crime scene investigator for that day. So it was me to lead my team up to the Oxford High School for crime scene processing.
You said your team, is that you and the 6 individuals?
Yes, and at that time there was 8. I had recruited a biologist to assist us and also a laboratory technician.
Okay, so what sort of specialties are these individuals involved in that are on your crime scene team?
They're members of our forensic laboratory in the firearms unit and the latent print unit, along with the biology unit.
So is it fair to say that you were called to the Oxford High School to process the scene?
That is correct.
What's the first thing you do when you arrive on scene to process?
Well, we were pretty much on standby because it was still an active scene. They were still getting intel, meaning my cohorts of the sheriff's office, of what had happened in there, clearing rooms, clearing the entire building. I didn't actually get in the building. I shouldn't say. I got in the building while it was still daylight to collect a firearm that was asked upon me. But as far as crime scene processing, it was well into the night when I actually got to walk through the scene to see what I was dealing with.
Okay, now the firearm, that would have been the 6-hour 9mm?
That is correct.
Okay. Now, I believe we have a stipulation. I'm just gonna, for the record, that's exhibit 403, forensic laboratory report request number 6, confirming that was in fact the murder weapon from November the 30th.
No objection. Yes.
Is it previously noted?
Not previously noted.
That's stipulated too,
Yes.
correct?
That's 403.
403?
Okay, so sir, after you went inside the school to collect the firearm, what happened next?
Pretty much sat in my vehicle waiting on the AOK to go into the school, meaning that it was safe for us to go in and process the crime scene.
Okay, so once you're given that green light, what do you do first?
I met with Sergeant Zadrowski, and we went through, there was me and one other individual, Rachel Grace, and members of the Special Investigation Unit that went through the crime scene itself to see what kind of evidence and what we were looking at within the crime scene.
Okay, so would you call this sort of initial walkthrough?
That would be a good terminology.
Okay, so once you do the initial walkthrough, what's your process then?
To go and report back to my team, to construct that team of what kind of services I needed from each one of them, kind of delegated out each of their jobs they needed to do, and the chronological order that we were going to complete those tasks.
Okay, so what was your decision on that day?
As far as for each person,
Well, you walked through the crime scene, you had a feel for what you were looking at as far as crime scene process. So what steps did you take next?
after the initial walkthrough, photographs were taken. After photographs were taken, then what we have, what we call a 3D scanner. So it takes a 3D scan of the crime scene itself to document exactly where items of evidence and the bodies were located within the scene.
Okay, so sir, why is it important to you as a professional in this subset of law enforcement to document things as you see them?
So that we can keep the integrity of where they were located when I actually saw them at that time.
Okay. So I'm going to walk through just a small portion of the photographs with you. In some of these photographs, we'll see yellow numbers, or yellow placards on the ground with numbers. What are those?
They signify pieces of evidence that were found within the crime scene.
Okay. And when you process a crime scene, do you write a report afterwards?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and did you in this particular case?
Yes, I did.
May I first witness? Sure. Just confirm, sir, this is People's Proposal 11. Confirm that it is in fact the report that you have authored in this particular case.
Yes, it is.
Okay, people move to submit 11.
No objection.
11's in minute.
And sir, when is it that you write this report?
At a later date after I had cleared the crime scene, after all the documentation was done, had the crime scene, then back at the laboratory, and then taking my notes and then constructing a formal report at that time.
Okay, and why do you do so? Why is it important to do so?
To kind of paint a picture of what I saw that day so that other people can hear and see what I experienced and saw that day.
And you mentioned photographs are taken and the evidence placards are put on the ground next to pieces of evidence. Do you also draw a sketch?
Yes, a sketch was not prepared, but what we used was a schematic blueprint of the school because of the vast nature of the school. Trying to get several rooms within one 8.5 by 11 piece of paper was virtually impossible. So we used the schematic to designate where the items of evidence were found within that school.
Okay, sir. I'm going to direct your attention to the screen here. This is People's 10. I don't believe there's objection to the admission of this exhibit.
No objection.
This wasn't admitted already?
Not yet, Judge.
Okay.
This is People's
You have
10.
no objection?
No objection.
10 admitted.
Okay, so this is the blueprint, at least the portion of the 200 hallway where the shooting occurred. Is that right?
Yes, it's the entire school, the lower level there, but you can see the blue markings, our pen marks, that were signifying the items of evidence that were found within this crime scene.
So these pen marks, these are actually your pen marks, your notations.
Not me personally, some of them are, but I worked with Rob Charlton, who was he took measurements and then he prepared the schematic along with me of where the items of evidence were found outside the classrooms.
Okay, fair enough. Now, Oxford High School has numbered hallways and each classroom has a number associated to it. Would that be correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And in the course of your reconstruction of this crime scene, were you able to reconstruct the path that the shooter took during the shooting?
Yes, I was.
Okay. So first, this is still People's 10. This is a zoomed in portion. This depicts the 200 hallway, and we see rooms 258 and 256 with a bathroom adjacent to 258. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. So tell us, sir, why is this portion of 200 hallway significant to you as a crime scene investigator?
There were two victims that were found between rooms 258 and 256. along with a vast number of pieces of evidence.
Okay, and then this is still People's 10. This is just the zoomed in portion of the remainder of the 200 hallway after the hallway turns. And I take it that pieces of evidence were recovered in this hallway as well?
That is correct, along with one of the other additional victims was found in a patrol car that was found just outside of the school.
Okay. Well, sir, were you able to tell, or did you subsequently find out where the shooter was directly before he began the shooting?
Yes, I was given information that he was in the bathroom found just west of 258 in the 200 wing.
So that would be the bathroom at the top of the screen there?
Yes, if you can see the numbers, it's by 6 and 7 depicted at the top of the zoomed in portion of the photograph.
I'm going to show you People's 12. I don't believe there's an objection to this.
No objection.
12 is admitted.
And sir, what do we see here in this photograph?
This is the inside of the bathroom, inside of one of the stalls of the bathroom we're talking about, near 258, where a backpack, electronic devices, a journal, yeah, I believe there's a Gatorade bottle, amongst other miscellaneous items.
It was later confirmed that these were the belongings of the shooter in this case.
That is correct.
Okay. Judge, the next photograph is Exhibit 13. I asked the court and instructed me not to film.
I'm going to request that the media not film this picture.
Audio too?
I don't think that, there's not a problem with audio.
No,
is
no.
there? Or just video, please. And still, no still or audio, video, okay? Thank you.
Now, of course, in your crime scene investigation, the photographs, you've seen these photographs before, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. And these photographs fairly depict the path that the shooter took during the attack in Oxford High School?
That is correct.
Okay. So this is the bathroom adjacent to 258. People's 13, what are we looking at here?
This is a photograph taken just outside of that bathroom, showing down the hallway where 258 and 256 would be found on the left-hand side of this photograph. And you can start to see the evidence placards on the right-hand side, with one of the victims lying on the ground on the right-hand side of the photograph.
Okay, so for the record, that's Hannah St. Juliana, and she's on the ground to the right side of the hallway, is that right?
That is correct.
And further up in the photograph, there's another victim, and that's Madison Baldwin.
That is correct.
Now, sir, tell us please what you recovered of evidentiary value in crime scene analysis in this portion of the 200 hallway.
They're what we call fired cartridge cases, and also fired bullets. So the fired cartridge cases will hold the actual unfired bullet in a semi-automatic weapon. The fired cartridge case is ejected out of the side of the weapon, which is typically out of the right side of the weapon. The bullet is expelled out of the barrel or the end of the weapon, in the direction where that firearm is pointed.
So sometimes I refer to them as shell casings. Is that an appropriate term, or should I not use that?
I mean, I think you can be used interchangeably, a fired shell casing or a fired cartridge case.
Okay. And how many of those fired shell casings did you recover in this portion of the 200 hallway?
There were 14.
So every time that someone pulls the trigger of a loaded semi-automatic weapon, it ejects a fired shell casing?
That is correct.
So with 14 fired shell casings in this portion of the hallway, what does that indicate to you as the number of shots fired?
That there would have been 14 within this area.
This is Exhibit 14. This is still a portion of the 200 hallway before it turns, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. And what do we see here in the screen?
You can see a few more of the yellow placards that are indicating the evidence that was found in that area before we get to the turn, heading back away from 258 and 256.
Okay, so this is Exhibit 15. This is continuing down the path. So we saw on the map that the 200 hallway turns right outside 256.
That is correct. And it would move to the left, or I believe it's north at that point in time.
Okay, so is this picture then oriented down the long hallway of 200?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and what do we see here?
Once again, it's fired. There's evidence that's marked by the yellow placards indicating the fired cartridge cases and fired bullets, along with a firearm magazine or a gun magazine that was located in this area of the hallway.
Okay. This is exhibit 16. Now I want to direct you specifically to placard 35 there, the lower middle portion of the screen. You mentioned a magazine. What is that?
So a semi-automatic weapon, a gun magazine will hold those cartridges or the fire cartridge cases and bullets that are put together in typically the bottom of the weapon. And that loads the gun to be chambered, to have a round chamber to actually use that weapon.
Now, how many fired shell casings did you recover from the long portion here of the 200 hallway?
There were 18 fire cartridge cases.
Now, did you also uncover evidence that the shooter fired into classrooms as well?
Yes, I did.
This is exhibit 17. This is a picture of what?
This is from the outside of room 247. And if you see it's in the middle of the picture, there's a pink rod we call trajectory rod. And that is to indicate where the shot was fired from and into. So the shot was fired from the exterior of 247 to the interior of room 247.
Okay. This is people's 18. What are we looking at here?
Another photograph from the outside of this is room 244. Once again, as you can see, a pink trajectory rod indicating that this bullet had traveled through the glass along with the 244 placard of this classroom 244.
If not already, you moved them at 16, 17, 18, Judge.
No objection.
16 and 17 and 18 are admitted.
Thank you, Judge.
Your Honor, I'm not sure if 14 and 15 were, but I have no objection.
Thank you.
14 and 15 are admitted.
This is people's 8. This has already been admitted. This is room 224, and Molly Darnell had already testified in this trial that this is the classroom she was in. But what do we see in this photograph here?
Once again, a photograph taken from the outside of room 224. And in this picture, you can see that there are 3 trajectory rods that were into the door of this room, indicating that the bullets were fired from outside of the classroom to the inside.
Okay. And this is people's 6, again, already admitted. This is the same classroom, 224. What do we see in this particular photograph?
On the left-hand side, you can see it's the inside of the door with the same 3 trajectory rods just from the inside. And then in the back of the room, there is what we call a perforation in the window. So a bullet more than likely traveled through that window, perforated the window, and we were never able to locate that bullet. But that was one of them.
What about the placard right here in the middle?
There is a fired bullet that was found in the bookcase. It was found lodged in one of the books on that bookcase.
Okay, and then we see this defect in the file cabinet here.
That is correct. That would be a ricochet or a defect that was more than likely caused by a firearms projectile or a fired bullet.
This is people's 19. So you already recognize this photograph?
Yes, I do.
And what is this photograph depict?
This is a photograph of the inside of, from the outside of room 223. But you can see that there is a ricochet or a defect that's found in the door. And this is what we call a bullet that was in flight, was tumbling, and it come into contact with something else because it's not a circular pattern like we saw in the other ones.
Okay, we'll move to 19.
No objection.
19 is admitted.
And this is exhibit 20. This is room 220. What do we see here?
Once again, a photograph taken from the outside of the classroom 220. You can see that there's one trajectory rod in the door of the room.
This is exhibit 21. People move to mid 20.
No objection.
20 is admitted.
This is people's 21. What do we see here, sir?
Photograph taken from the outside of room 215. And you can see there's the trajectory rods. They happen to be orange in color this time. Into the window found right below the number 215, showing the path of travel of the bullets that were fired into that classroom.
Okay, so the fact that they're orange instead of pink, does that have any significance?
No, we just ran out of pink.
Judge, I'd ask the court to instruct the camera not to film the next photograph.
Yeah, we're going to be putting exhibit number 22 on the screen. I'm going to ask that it not be videotaped and also that there not be any still pictures taken. All right? Is it off right now? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Judge. People move to mid 21.
Anyone's admitted?
Okay. This is People's 22, sir. This has already been admitted. What are we looking at here?
The photograph taken from the outside of a bathroom that was found across from room 231, classroom 231. In this photograph, you can see that there is a large amount of blood along with a backpack on the floor that's found just inside of the bathroom, along with some other evidence that was marked. I believe it's a cartridge that was found outside of the bathroom that was marked 49.
Sir, this is the bathroom where Justin Schilling was killed?
That is correct.
This is People's 23. What do we see here?
22 was previously admitted.
Thank you, Judge.
This is a photograph of the firearm that was collected by the deputies on scene.
And may I approach the witness? This has already been admitted as 403. Sir, just to confirm, that's the firearm that you were called into the school to recover and to take back to the Oakland County Forensic Laboratory? The report I is authored by Mr. Charlton. is that
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yep, I just wanted to make sure, yeah. So yeah, it looks like there is two fired bullets that were asked to be compared against the firearm.
Okay, and according to that report, the firearm depicted here in People's 23 was the firearm used in the Oxford High School attack November the 30th, 2021?
That is correct.
Okay. Sir, in your crime scene processing of the Oxford High School, how many times was that gun shot inside the high school?
32 times.
Your Honor, I just want to make sure 32 is, or I'm sorry, 23 is admitted.
Yeah, 23.
I have no objection to it.
Okay. It has to be admitted. That's shown, right? 23 is admitted.
23 is admitted?
Yes.
Thank you, Judge. I've got the.
You have nothing further?
Yes, Judge, thank you.
Cross?
We have no questions, thank you.
All right, you may step down.
Thank you.
You're excused. All right. I'm going to release you until 8:30 tomorrow morning. It's not supposed to snow, is it? So I think we're moving pretty well. So I'll see you at 8:30 in the morning. Any questions about the schedule? Everybody okay? Okay, we'll see you at 8:30. Everybody stay healthy and have a good evening.
All rise for the jury.
Be seated. Anybody, anything?
Thanks, so, Judge.
Your Honor, I would just like to ask again the prosecutor tonight, let me know who they're calling tomorrow. And I'm also asking if they are going to be done before the end of the week or by the end of the week, only because I have witnesses subpoenaed. I need to give them some idea. I have one witness who would need an interpreter that I've arranged, and so I want to make sure.
Language, depth, what's the,
Language.
okay, did we help you with that?
No, I just did it privately through an agency.
Oh, okay,
But I need to be able to coordinate to get the interpreter here.
okay.
Judge, can we approach, please?
Okay, can I have the deputies bring her downstairs, because now I'm gonna release the jury. I want to do one or the other. Is this something that we need to make record of?
No.
With her? Okay, so can you take her down? They're holding the door, right? Thank you.
Was it, do you want to